Like what the fuck is he actually trying to do? Is he looking at his Secret Service agents like tonight's the night again? That's what you signed up for? Like it's like his hips bare, don't move. He just moves his arms like he's jerking a dick. Like, come on, man. What even are we doing here? Pleasuring two men at once. Yeah. I always felt like that's rude. No, I'm not shaming anybody. It's just like, I don't know about you guys, but if I was playing like Mario Party and I was in the shake scene, like one of the shake mini games, I don't think I could do better if I had two Wii's. You know what I mean? Like, I think just focusing on jerking the one, you know, take turns. Maybe I'm crazy. What is BB? What is Putin? Hold on, I'm making my concoction, which every morning. God damn it! All right, I'll be right back. God, son of a bitch. Give me a second. I don't know if you've seen, but there's a little bit of a little country called China, and they're on the come up. I've covered how China is gone from nothing, one of the poorest countries in the world, shattered by capitalism, living under warlords and cliques and literal gangsters, to a world-striding power who is dominating renewable energy, dominating electric vehicles, soon to be dominating space, soon to be dominating aviation, the International Space Station, ultimate symbol of neoliberal primacy, is falling out of orbit, and the only space station in orbit will be Chinese. Think about that symbolism. Dominating renewable energy, dominating electric vehicles, dominating space, dominating aviation, and they're on the dominating renewable energy, dominating electric vehicles, dominating space, dominating aviation, and they're on the they're on the come up, folks. What? Okay, Internet Boy, you made this like what, like 18 months ago? Was I not dead on accurate again, chat? Another moment where we were just dominating everything. The thing that's fucking wild to me, the fact that people don't know that China has their own fucking space station that's so much nicer than the International Space Station is wild to me. It's like the American strategy for the second space race is to just ignore that it's happening. Like in the Cold War, everybody was like losing their shit, but because we have Hollywood sci-fi shows, that's like we're actually going to space. China bans tech companies from buying Nvidia's AI chips. Oh yeah, I think this is like, I don't know how to explain this, chat, but there is absolutely no way that the United States beats China in anything. Like, I know this is very hard for people to accept, but it's fucking over. It's completely over. I think one of the things that a lot of people, like the way that they dismiss China in particular is they're like, well, China's very good at infrastructure. Guys, that's the entire ball game. That's everything. Oh, you're really good at like building transport links across a continent. Oh, you're really good at like building renewable energy. You're really good at like controlling flooding. Oh, you're really good at like building housing for your population. Oh, you're really good at like what? That's everything. And oh, you're the best heavy and light industrial manufacturer. That's called modern civilization. You're good at everything. But other than that, we're good at like what? What the fuck are we good at? You're really good at ignoring homeless people on your streets and hardening your heart towards your fellow citizens. Like, what the fuck are we good at? We are good. You guys are good at coming up with new synthetic CDOs to create larger and larger bets over the same underlying economic activity. We're not even good at porn. We're not even good at porn. Never seen a Chinese Super Bowl winner. Have you seen? Xi Jinping likes basketball, bro. Xi Jinping likes basketball, and I think he likes soccer too. Those are his games. US porn clears everyone else the fuck? What do you mean? These US porn creators are fucking like exploiting Eastern European women and shit. Brazil makes better, you know, porn. Like, come on, let's be honest here. If you had to guess, where does the US go from here? How do we avert full fascism? I think we're cooked. The American elite likes being the world superpower, and so they'd rather kill all of us than have to accept that. So, you know, the only way for America to recover is if it said, okay, we accept that China is a powerful country. We will treat them with respect. We will treat them as equals on the world stage. We will work to build international institutions that hold every party in check and hold us all to the same fair standard. We need to develop, you know, our own industrial production, our own you know, we need like government interference and intervention. We need to like gain control of Wall Street. We need to gain control of our oligarchs. We need to like focus our societal resources on improving the quality of life of Americans, of solving international crises like climate change, and, you know, obviously defending ourselves. We don't want to be aggressed against, but the US is the hardest country in the world to attack. So what are we even fucking doing here? It was over in 2016 when the country chose fascism over social democracy. Education scores started dropping then too, and with China's much larger population. I mean, you're right. I personally think it was over in 2016. I think when the Democratic Party successfully rigged the Iowa caucus, which is what they did, we were fucked. Bernie Sanders got more votes on Iowa caucus day, but through the opaque way that they managed the state delegate equivalents behind closed doors, they gave it to Hillary Clinton. Like it was stolen. Okay, so I'm not saying we're cooked. I don't know what to do, Chad. Like I think the main problem that we have is that I falsely believed Democratic politicians would feel a certain type of self-preservation, and they would triangulate into a kind of like soft social democracy to head off the insurgent left. And I think that Nancy Pelosi might have done that, but I don't think that Hakeem Jeffries is smart enough. And our leadership is so bad. Like, we used to have Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid. Now, I'm not a big fans of them. I think they suck. But the step down from Nancy Pelosi to Hakeem Jeffries and the step down from Harry Reid to Chuck Schumer is so bad. It's so bad that, like, the Democratic Party is, like, not really functional at all. And I don't know what to say. Like, we need a resistance. We need an opposition. Main problem we have is that we are descendants and beneficiaries of colonialism and genocide, and I'm not meaning it in a shit-lib way. I mean, the mentality has been baked into us. The thing is, like, a lot of what works originated in the US. That's the thing that's real. Like, if you really study public policy and you're like, well, I think the Chinese have done really well on this, and the Scandinavians have done really well on that, and la-di-da-di-da. Everything you look at, the US used to do that. Or invented it. All hail abundance. Yeah, man. Christ on a cracker. All right, what are we doing today? Charlie Kirk's Discord shooter leaks. I think it's fair to say at this point that the shooter was not highly political, but that he was motivated to shoot Charlie Kirk because probably, based on the Discord messages, it seems like he shot him because of some sort of very vague gesture toward maybe anti-LGBTQ views, but that overall this guy was not some sort of like dyed-in-the-wool leftist. He was not a fan of mine. He was not a fan of Hassan's. Quick civil rights celebration? What is this? My Lord in heaven, why do I have so many notifications?
Because the government fucked with the civil rights and then fucked my car. I'm going in this federal courthouse. Getting some money for me and my client because the government fucked with the civil rights and then fucked my car. Actually, wait. That's right. The pre-settlement car fuck.
The Larry Ellison algorithm is starting. That's my reaction. This is the Larry Ellison algorithm. Come on, chatter. What else? Oh yeah. Right-wing politicians are all demanding Destiny's arrest. Now, what I find incredible is do these right-wing politicians know that Destiny is a sex criminal? That he's doing revenge porn? That he lives in a red state? That he probably has child pornography on his computer? Do they know about that? Like, listen, I don't think that Destiny should be arrested for anything he said about Charlie Kirk. That's incredibly fucked up. But I do think he should be arrested for being a revenge pornographer and a possessor of child porn and a sexual exploiter of young girls. And I think there's probable cause go through every single message he ever sent on Discord, through his phone. Like, that's what I think he should be arrested for. I don't think, I don't see anything he said about Charlie Kirk that should be arrestable. Them turning on Destiny is funny. Of course they're going to turn on Destiny. The thing about Destiny is it's so funny to look at him and realize that all he needed in life, all Destiny needed in life, was a little bit of therapy and a little bit of self-awareness and maybe a little bit of Adderall when he was in high school and college. Hate to see it, man. Hate to see it. If only your mother had said she loved you instead of killing your pets. Oh, wait, that was your grandmother. The most insane story I've ever heard was when Destiny was talking to the Twitch therapist, and he said that his grandmother would like kill their dog every 2 years. Like, that's the most obvious sociopath shit I've ever seen. It actually gave me chills. It was insane. I was like, what the fuck? We have a video from One Dime about the theory of controlled opposition, which I want to check out. And of course, friend of the show, Mike from PA2, Michael Burns, made a video called Abundance is a Right-Wing Movement, which all this is just the Mike from PA is Vindicated Hour. The Mike from PA Vindication Hour, where all of my analysis, all of my, like, again, was I not one of the first people to say abundance is a right-wing ploy to create a alliance between fascism and centrism? And you can see Ezra Klein trying to do it with the Charlie Kirk shit, which reminds me, what we're going to start off the stream with is sometimes people become better. All is not lost. Pa Ahisi Coates and I, 15 years ago, in the Atlantic comment section of his blog, I would yell at him and I would be like, your takes are dog shit. You are a centrist. 15 years ago, I would be like, why the fuck do you like Obama so much? He's dog shit. He's a loser. He cannot get anything done. He's kowtowing to the Republicans left and right. And I want to say that deep in my heart, I wanted Ta-Nehisi Coates to use his intellect for good. And unlike most Generation Xers, he actually came to the left. Last year, he did a big tour about the Gaza being a genocide and Israel doing apartheid. Notice they kind of buried him after that. But yesterday, he put out an article in Vanity Fair that is pretty much exactly correct. I don't think I could have put it better. I know I couldn't have put it better. This is a superior piece of political writing, the type that we are desperate for. We are desperate for this. Ta-Nehisi Coates, Charlie Kirk redeemed. A political class finds its lost cause. I wish he would read this, a dramatic reading of this, because it's so fucking good. Please have a conversation with Michael Burns about degrowth. Is he a pro degrowther? By the way, it's pronounced Asi, not Hisi. Ta-Nehisi Coates. You're right. Thank you for correcting me. You're actually right. I just forgot. You're totally right. You are 100% right. Mike was wrong, Chad. He mispronounced the name. Can you believe it? I can't. Wait, what happened? What the fuck? The archive broke? Okay. Stop loading. Wait, the archive broke? What the fuck is it doing? Wait, it's doing the like paywall shit now? How do you stop that? Okay, there you go. Jesus Christ. All right. Jesus. Okay. Charlie Kirk redeemed. A political class find its lost cause. By ignoring the rhetoric and actions of the Turning Point USA founder, pundits and politicians are sanitizing his legacy. I mean, this is, honest to God, one of the most pathetic things I've ever seen. And Ezra Klein is a fucking fascist rotor, a pathetic scoundrel, a ass kiss of the most pathetic fashion. Ezra Klein, you fucking suck. I can't believe anybody likes Ezra Klein. Ezra Klein is total fucking dog shit and a complete idiot. You're one of these guys who don't get to feel this right, do you? Huh? Before he was killed last week, Charlie Kirk left a helpful compendium of words, ones that would greatly aid those who sought to understand his legacy and import. It is somewhat difficult to match these words with the manner in which Kirk is presently being memorialized in mainstream discourse. New York Times columnist Ezra Klein dubbed Kirk one of the era's most effective practitioners of persuasion. First of all, this is not the case, chat. It just simply isn't the case. Charlie Kirk was good at sucking up hundreds of millions of dollars of right-wing donor money and turning it into gigantic vanity projects that preach to the choir only. The only reason he even seemed to have any success is because Joe Biden was such an unsuccessful president and enacted such unsuccessful policies that people were desperate for an alternative. And so there was a minor fluctuation among some demographics that weren't normally voters for the Republican Party. And Charlie Kirk took credit for it, but in reality, he was just standing there. He was the guy standing there, sucking up the hundreds of millions. Charlie Kirk fucking sucks. Nothing he says is good. Nobody's going to be quoting Charlie Kirk 100 years from now because of his arguments. Nobody's going to be quoting him 20 years from now because of his arguments. He was dog shit. He was garbage. He was stupid. Ezra Klein is just dead wrong. And you know how I know he's dead wrong? He didn't quote him a single time in the article. And a man who was practicing politics in exactly the right way. I think if you say this about Charlie Kirk, you should seriously be excommunicated from any kind of thing that's left wing. He was the opposite. He was the complete opposite. He said nothing of value ever. California Governor Gavin Newsom hailed Kirk's passionate commitment to debate, advising us to continue Kirk's work by engaging with each other across ideology through spirited discourse. Atlantic writer Sally Jenkins saluted Kirk, claiming he argued with civility and asserting us that his death was a significant loss for those who believed engagement can bridge disagreements. You believe something that's stupid. You believe a dumb thing. The mention of debates and engagement are references to Kirk's campus tours during which he visited various colleges to take on whoever came may. That this aspect of Kirk's work would be so attractive to writers and politicians is understandable. There is, after all, persuasive worry among the political class that college students, ensconced in their own bubbles, could use a bit of shock therapy from a man unconcerned with preferred pronouns, trigger warnings, and the humanity of Palestinians. But it also shows how the political class's obsession with university blinds it to everything else. And the everything else of Kirk's politics amounted to little more than loathing of those whose mere existence provoked his ire. That's AI written as fuck. You're stupid as fuck. You're actually dumb. You may actually be one of the dumbest people I've ever seen. You cannot recognize AI speech at all because you're stupid. Shut the fuck up. You saw a dash. Shut up, idiot. You're stupid. It is not just, for instance, that Kirk held disagreeable views, that he was pro-life, that he believed in public executions, or that he rejected the separation of church and state. It's that Kirk reveled in open bigotry. Indeed, claims of Kirk's civility are tough to square with his penchant for demeaning members of the LGBTQ plus community as freaks, referring to the trans people with the slur. Faced with the prospect of a Kamala Harris presidency, Kirk told his audience that the threat had to be averted because Harris wanted to kidnap your child via the trans agenda.
Can we get that picture up, Ryan, of that Marvel's Avenger team? So when you guys think of the Avengers, you guys think of the combination of great forces. This is your government. If you voted Democrat, if you supported Democrat this midterm cycle, this is what you voted for. Now, I don't know who the person is on the left. Is the person on the left that tranny that came and did the interview with the TikTok tranny? Got it. So that person doesn't have a government job. The other ones do, okay? So that one's Levine. Then you got Karine Jean-Pierre, who's also lesbian. And then I don't even remember what that guy's role is, but he's in some sort of weird sex cult. And then you got the TikTok guy, another TikTok guy. What is his job? No, I know. I'm talking about the sex cult guy in the middle. I don't know. He's in charge of like immigration. He's some Greek name, if I remember correctly.
Also, the audio is so dog shit. It has a whistle or a whine going on in it. God, he's such a fucking dope. It's so fucking annoying. Jesus Christ.
Like Malatakis or something. It's some Greek name. And so then you got the other TikTok guy, because that's a different TikTok person, isn't it? And then you got Brinton. Oh, that was a White House in.
So all this is, in case you're wondering, is they went and found people that are trans and put them in and they edited them into a picture together just so they could call them trans. Wow, Ezra Klein, man, you really did it. You really fucking did it. People like Ezra Klein, who 5 minutes ago, I mean, it's just, what can you say about Ezra Klein? 2.2 GPA at high school. 2.2 GPA at high school. Listen, I understand struggling, with maturity when you're young, but with him, I think it was an accurate measurement of his fucking intellectual ability. Fucking dumbass. Garden variety transphobia is sadly unremarkable, but Kirk was a master of folding seemingly discordant bigotries into each other as what he defined the American way of life as marriage, home ownership, and child rearing, free of the lesbian, gay, transgender garbage in their school, adding that he did not want kids to have to hear the Muslim call to prayer 5 times a day. The American way of life was Christendom, Kirk claimed. In Islam, the sword the left is using to slit the throat of America was antithetical to that. Large dedicated Islamic areas were a threat to America, Kirk asserted. And New York mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani was a Mohammedan, with Kirk supposing that anyone trying to see Mohammedanism take over the West would love to have New York, a prior Anglo center, under Mohammedan rule. Now, New York, Chad, I don't know if you know this, was Dutch. Kirk, he don't learn too good because he didn't finish school. New York City has always been the least Anglo place in the entire fucking country. It just so happens to be the richest and most heavily populated city. I wonder if there's any fucking connection. Kirk habitually railed against black crime, claiming that prowling blacks go around for fun to target white people. He repeated the rape accusations against Yusef Salam, a member of the exonerated Central Park 5, who is now a New York City councilman, calling him a disgusting pig who had gotten away with, quote, gang rape. Whatever distaste Kirk held for blacks was multiplied when he turned to those from Haiti. Haiti was, by Kirk's lights, a country infested with demonic voodoo, whose migrants were raping your women and hunting you down at night. These Haitians, as well as undocumented immigrants from other countries, were having a field day, per Kirk, and coming for your daughter next. The only hope was Donald Trump, who had to prevail, lest Haitians become your masters. The point of this so-called mastery was as familiar as it was conspiratorial. Great replacement. There was an anti-white agenda, Kirk howled, one that sought to make the country more like the third world. I mean, the only anti-white agenda, the only agenda to make America into the third world is in the Republican Party. What do you think happens to a country when you cut its education system? What do you think happens to a country when you destroy its labor unions? What do you think happens to a country when you privatize its infrastructure and you cut taxes on the rich and you serve the interest of banks over industrialists or labor unions or children? What do you think happens to a country that cuts the CDC, the Department of Education? Think about it, man. You turn that country into the dumb, greedy, infested shithole that it is. The southern border was the dumping ground of the planet, he claimed, and a magnet for the rapists, thugs, murderers, and fighting age males. They're coming from across the world, from China, from Russia, from Middle East countries, he said, and they're coming in, and they're coming in, and they're coming in. I think something like 50 Nobel laureates and like prestigious academics have left the US to return to China in the last 6 months. We are getting brain drained back to China. You could probably imagine where this line of thinking eventually went. Jewish donors, Kirk claimed, were the #1 funding mechanisms of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies. Bitch, that's Ronald fucking Reagan too, dumbass. Oh my God, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies. This guy was an incoherent babbler of stupidity. Cultural institutions and nonprofits. If Marxist policies are so goddamn stupid, how come China is kicking our fucking ass? The philosophical foundation of anti-whiteness has largely been financed by Jewish donors in the country. Hey guys, did when H3 was blubbering, weeping tears for this fucking dipshit, did he mind this?
Hello, everybody. Radio stations across the country. Honored to be with you. You can email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to our podcast. Excellent event last evening in Reno, Nevada. It's great to see so many of you. I cannot emphasize enough the win for liberty, the win for humanity that the liberation of Twitter has meant for all of us. It's remarkable. Liberating Twitter from what it once was to what it is now is a win for the narrative. It's a win for truth. It's a win as we try to fight back against this uniparty regime, the tyrants, and the authoritarian dictators that are running the country.
Say that about Joe Biden in 2000. What year was this? 2003? Okay, I mean, he was doing a genocide.
Even if they shut down Twitter today, will go down as a major hero for allowing us to be able to speak, to question narratives, to get the truth out. Elon Musk got himself in a little bit of trouble yesterday. Elon Musk responded to a tweet that I actually don't think the tweet is that smart. I think one part of it is legit, but I think another part of it is not so great. But the essence of what Elon was responding to is a major thought crime in America. That the world's wealthiest man would comment on this is historic. So here's the tweet, and it's responding to a video, and the video was basically a white father with his white son saying to his son, hey, you think that, you're posting online all this anti-Semitic stuff. Why don't you go and say this to these Jewish families' face? Pretty powerful advertisement. This is the ad, okay? It's about a minute long. It's a powerful ad. And then a person on Twitter responded to this advertisement, and then Elon responded to the person responding to the advertisement. It's important. Bear with us, because right now Elon Musk is being targeted like never before. Elon Musk was supposed to speak at a summit today, and he has been canceled. They don't want to hear from Elon Musk because they are tarring and feathering him as an anti-Semite. They've come after this program for calling us anti-Semites. They're coming after Elon Musk for they're calling him an anti-Semite. So here's the advertisement. It's a powerful ad. Play cut 79.
I saw what you've been posting. Hitler was right. I didn't teach you that. You hide behind your screen, spewing all this hatred and ugliness. You got something you want to say? Get out of the truck and say it to their faces.
Okay, so that advertisement then was responded to by this person, the artist formerly known as Eric. Okay, Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of dialectical hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them.
Okay, so the ad, probably done by some sort of Israeli organization, and the reaction of people being mad at Israel, made an anti-post, don't post Hitler was right shit. And this is their reaction to that ad, is that it's against whiteness. I don't know if you know this, chat, but the Nazis didn't argue in favor of whiteness. I know you're stupid and you don't know this, but they didn't argue in favor of whiteness, you dumb fuck. They argued in favor of Aryanness, not whiteness. They killed a lot of people you would call white for being subhuman, dumbass. They killed a lot of Russians. They killed a lot of Poles. They killed a lot of Ukrainians, you dumb fuck. They killed a lot of Roma. They didn't have dialectical hatred against whites. What the fuck are you talking about? They supported a theory about Aryanness. Say Aryan, dumbass. They didn't consider the Balkans to be white. It's so funny how American fascists are trying to temporally colonize Hitler to make him in favor of their melange of races, according to Hitler. That was America. American whiteness. Yeah, dude. Southern Italians, Sicilians, and Irish people. That's who Hitler was calling the master race. What the fuck are you talking about? It's so funny how incomprehensibly stupid right-wingers are. To call it vibes is to insult vibes. It's not even vibes. I'm doing actually about Hitler, but it's whiteness is such a funny concept. As a half Bavarian, half Scot, you're not white. The founding fathers would have called me a half-breed because I was half German. They would have been German and a papist? I don't think this could do democracy. Okay? You're not white.
I am deeply disinterested in giving the tiniest swear word, let's just say tiniest crap, now about Western Jewish populations, coming to the disturbing realization that those hordes of minorities that support flooding their country don't exactly like them too much. You want truth said to your face? There it is. Now, let me just say, this is not a very well-written tweet. It's very confusing. I'll go through what they're basically saying here. Half of this tweet is true, half of it I don't like. You want the truth said to your face? There it is. Elon responds, and he says, you have said the actual truth. Now, we don't know what part Elon is saying is the actual truth. So let's go through this. Again, it's...
The first Muslim who arrived in New York was Anthony the Turk, who was a Dutch merchant of Moroccan descent in 1626 and helped build the settlement when it was 100 to 200 population. Even before the first Jewish who escaped persecution from Europe in 1654, Jacob Bar Simpson. Anthony the Turk was Anderson Cooper's ancestor. Anderson Cooper is related to Anthony through his mother, Gloria Vanderbilt. Sorry for being a nerd. I have a minor of American history. I mean, like, of course. No shit. New York has literally always been a melting pot. That's what I said at the beginning. I said it was the least Anglo settlement in America, in, you know, the English colonies.
It's double negatives and misuse of the word disinterested. It's a strange tweet that Elon pinpointed on here. But the first part is absolutely true. Let's go to this. Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. Now, I don't like generalizations. Not every Jewish believes that. But it is true the Anti-Defamation League was part and parcel with Black Lives Matter. It is true that some of the largest financiers of left-wing anti-white causes have been Jewish Americans. They went all in on woke, and it wasn't just ADL. It was some of the top Jewish organizations in the country that have done that. In fact, we have seen this with the recent retreat of Jewish donations that are no longer going to be administered to colleges, right? Mark Rowan, Leon Kopperman. Can we get that full list? It's very powerful. The part of the so that's totally true. And by the way,
look at Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is doing anti-Semitism while he cheers on oligarchic control of our universities to defend Israel's genocide. I mean, this guy didn't have one position that wasn't depraved. Kirk's bigotry was not personal, but extended to the institution he founded, Turning Point USA. Crystal Clanton. Jesus Christ, she sounds like a fucking plantation owner. They still name people this? They still name people Crystal Clayton? This person sounds like they owned 500 head of human beings. The group's founder, former national field director, once texted a fellow Turning Point employee, I hate black people. What the fuck? Fuck them all. I can't even read this, guys. One of the group's advisors, Rip McIntosh, once published a newsletter featuring an essay from a pseudonymous, I can never say this word. God damn it. Pseudonymous, thank you, Jesus. A pseudonymous writer that said blacks had become socially incompatible with other races, reading on stream, man, and that black culture was unfixable and crime-ridden mess. In 2022, after 3 black football players were killed at another college, Meg Miller, president of Turning Point's chapter at the University of Missouri, joked in a social media message, if they had killed 4 more hard R N-words, we would have had the whole week off. This is what Ezra Klein says is doing it the right way, by the way. Kirk subscribed to some of the most disreputable and harmful beliefs that this country has ever known. But it's still chilling to think that those beliefs would be silenced by a gunshot.
I prefer really not to speak. If I speak, I am in big trouble. In big trouble. And I don't want to be in big trouble.
The tragedy is personal. Kirk was robbed of his life, and his children and family will forever live with the knowledge that a visual record of that robbery is just an internet search away. And the tragedy is national. Political violence ends conversation and invites war. Its rejection is paramount to a functioning democracy and free society. Political violence is a virus, Klein noted. This assertion is true. It is also at odds with Kirk's own words. It's not that Kirk merely, as Klein put it, defended the Second Amendment. It's that Kirk endorsed hunting people to advance his preferred policy outcomes. When Kirk was frustrated, for instance, by the presence of Leah Thomas on the University of Pennsylvania women's swim team, Kirk did not call for spirited discourse. Instead, while discussing a recent championship tournament, he said he would have liked to have seen a group of fathers descend from the stands, forming a line in front of Leah Thomas and saying, hey, tough guy, you want to get into the pool? Because you're going to have to come through us.
You are a woman. the innocent, protectors of the natural law. I would say that women don't have fight, need to lead. So at the NCAA tournament, what I would have loved in a different America, in a 1950s America, let me tell you what would have happened. Let me tell you what would have happened is that the fathers of every other competitor would have come down out of the and formed a line in front of William Thomas and, hey, tough guy. You want to get in the pool? Because you're going to have to come through us. Instead, beta male, low testosterone fathers, kind of hunched over, not wanting to offend anyone as they work for the corporate. And I say, that's why this. Women have been left to fend for themselves. And guess what? Now men are terrorizing them. William Thomas is a man terrorizing other women. Why are we putting up with? And the reason.
Other women? He decided to affirm the gender in the middle of the sentence. Even you can't even keep your hatred. You can't even keep your hatred correct, you dumb, illiterate. He's so stupid. He was so stupid. Excuse me, chat. He was stupid. Mere weeks before his death, Kirk reveled in Trump's deployment of federal troops to D.C. Shock it off. Force, he wrote. We're taking our country back from these cockroaches. 2023, Kirk told his audience that President Joe Biden was a corrupt tyrant who should be put in prison and or given the death penalty for his crimes against America. Excuse me. Not humanity. That's what I would say. What are we to make of a man who called for the execution of the American president and then was executed himself? What are we to make of an NFL that, on one hand, encourages us to end racism, on the other, urges us to commemorate an unreconstructed white supremacist? And what of the writers, the thinkers, and the pundits who cannot separate the great crime of Kirk's death from the malignancy of his public life? Can they truly be so ignorant to the words of a man they have so rushed to memorialize? I don't know. But the most telling detail in Klein's column was that for all his praise, there was not a single word in the piece from Kirk himself. It wasn't just that Charlie Kirk was a piece of garbage who occasionally had bad clips or extreme statements. It's that he never once said anything of value. Not one time did he ever say anything of value. He never said anything that could lead to a better country or unity or humanity, or compassion, or forgiveness, or gentleness, or kindness, or conscientiousness. He was a man who was about provoking people with the most asinine, racist, transphobic, hateful blather, and then soaking up the attention on social media, pushed by $100 million a year of corporate money, of oligarch money. He was a failure. He was a loser, and he will go down in history as an unremarkable propagandist for fascism. Donald Trump couldn't even keep up the charade for 2 days about caring about this guy. He's going to skip the funeral. They don't give a fuck about this loser, and they're going to have somebody else step into his shoes like he never even existed. More than a century and a half ago, this country ignored the explicit words of men who sought to raise an empire of slavery. It subsequently transformed those men into gallant knights who sought only to preserve their beloved Camelot. There was a fatigue in certain quarters with Reconstruction, which is to say multiracial democracy. The greatest mistake that America ever made is we never had a cultural revolution. What America needs today is a cultural revolution. We need to go around and destroy the four olds. Old superstitions, old habits, old beliefs, and old customs. We have to get rid of the cultural support for slavery and racism that continues to exist to this day. And I want you to understand, for a long time, I didn't understand why some people believed that white people could never unite under a proletarian banner of a multiracial democracy. And then I figured it out, chat. I figured out why there's so many people who believe in multiracial democracy in this country and so many people that believe it's impossible, pessimists. And I've always been in a struggle with pessimists. And then I learned some facts which help explain them. Almost every single white person in the South is a racist. Almost every single white person in the South is a racist. We're talking about 85%. Now, I know there's a lot of you who are from the South that's like, I'm not racist. My friends are not racist. Yes, you're correct. You're probably not. You're in the Central Committee stream. You're a fan of socialism. You at least are thinking about this shit and trying to be better. But the vast majority of people in the South, in the deep South, that are white are fucking insanely racist, and it's almost hard to believe how bad it is. And if I grew up around those white people, I probably would say the same goddamn thing you are. I've been talking about this in my stream for years. And the reason why I stumbled across this was I was studying, I study electoral results. And I don't think that just because a white person votes Democrat, that means they're not racist. Like, I'm not someone who says that as simplistically. However, I know if a white person votes Republican, they're at least okay with racism. All right? If a white person is voting Republican, they're at least okay with it. All right? They're at least okay with it. And in the deep South, no shit, white people vote Republican like 80% of the time. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it was that high. I was like, wait a minute. No fucking shot. Because where I'm from, where I spent most of my life in the Northeast, white people pretty much vote, they're split. It's pretty much 50-50 or 45-55 Republican. In some elections in the North and in some states in the North, white people do not vote Republican. Like the majority do not vote Republican, which in the South, if the South, white people voted like they do in, say, Pennsylvania and Georgia, that would be one of the bluest states in the country. That would be California level blue. But in Georgia, white people vote Republican 80% of the time. It's fucking insane. Like, it's actually batshit and crazy. Like, when I saw this, I was like, no fucking way. No fucking way. That can't be real. I think the best selection of this, just to show it. Hold on, let me see if I can do this. Alabama, let me see if I can get this. Alabama exit polls 2024. Do those exist? Do they even take them? Okay, here we go. This will do. Georgia. 71% of white people voted for Trump in Georgia. 71? That's fucking crazy. If you go to white men, oh God, let's see this. White men, 75% for Trump in Georgia. 68% of white women. Yo, that is not normal, man. That's not fucking normal, dude. Now, Harris lost pretty badly, so let's look at Pennsylvania. 51% of white women in Pennsylvania voted for Trump, and 60% of white men. So white people in general, so this was a bad, white voters with a college degree, 58% in Pennsylvania voted for Harris. Let's go over to Georgia. 57%. Even the college educated whites love Trump in Georgia. Dude, that's fucking racism, man. That's crazy. White voters don't agree. 82%. Yo, that's fucking crazy, man. This was a bad election for the Democrats, so expect it to look bad. But just comparing it to, say, Pennsylvania. 68% without a degree. 51% voted for Harris in Pennsylvania. You like of white people. Yo, that's crazy, man. She got absolutely owned in Pennsylvania. What a oh, that was Ohio. Sorry, chat. Even whites in Ohio. Do you see white people with a college degree in Ohio voted for Harris? 58% in Pennsylvania, which is 35% of the voters were white people with a college degree. 58% voted for Harris. That was what, 70%? Like, the South is bad, man. He should get the death penalty for shooting Kirk. They should put him under the firing squad. Utah have the firing squad death penalty. I think it's just poetic justice. Oh, are you a believer in poetic justice, Fat Batman? Then you've been feeling pretty good the past week. In this map, you could vote demographics. Oh, hell yeah, dude. I think one of my favorite chatters sent me this map. How do you select demographics? How do you select demographics? Oh, I don't like that. Okay, here we go. We found it. White. Okay. So this is the country if only white people voted. So this is Vermont. This is Vermont. If only white people voted, 93% of white people in this precinct voted for Kamala Harris. That's pretty. So these are the white people. As you can see, in the Northeast, white people, I mean, like, you know, they 90 to, no, holy shit. We found 99% precincts for white people. God damn. That's Boston. That's the Dom numbers. Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look at Texas white people. God, I've never seen this color. The only time I saw this color was like last week at the Charlie Kirk rally. 100%. Holy shit. Okay, this is Florida, Miami people. I don't know if we can. They call themselves white, but like the South needs a motherfuck. Okay, so according to the popular vote, 63 million white people voted for Trump, and 45 million of them voted for Kamala Harris. Is this the most pro Kamala Harris white people in the South? It's like the heart of Austin. Is there any place where 100% of white people vote? Oh, there's only one vote here that voted for Kamala Harris. The one white. You can probably figure out who this guy is. We know who you voted for. Chill. Hey guys, can you find Beverly Hills in LA? Guys, can you find Beverly Hills? Hey guys, can you find Beverly Hills? Oh, damn, they really love Donald Trump up there. The most class-conscious group of people on the planet are rich people. Do you guys know what the voter turnout is for millionaires? You guys know what the voter turnout is for millionaires, or people who make more than $1 million? Let me see if I could find this. The answer is 99.9%. Oh, here we go. Voter turnout by wealth. Wealthiest 1%. 99%. I think they know something. There was fatigue at certain quarters with Reconstruction, which is to say multiracial democracy and a desire for reunion to make America great again. Thus, in the late 19th century, much of the 20th, the country's most storied intellectuals transfigured hate mongers into heroes and ignored their words, just as right now some are ignoring Kirk's. So compulsory voting should be part of a left-wing movement? Of course it should. Of course it should. It's pretty well established that if you make voting compulsory, it helps the left. It doesn't necessarily win you the elections for all time, but it provably helps the left. It's been established well in the political science literature. Now, it doesn't mean in every election and every candidate and every blah, blah, blah. It's still a democracy at the end of the day. Compulsory voting helps the left. Everybody knows this. Words are not violence, nor are they powerless. Burying the truth of the Confederacy, rewriting its aims and ideas, and ignoring its animated words allowed for the terrorization of black population, the imposition of apartheid, and the destruction of democracy. The rewriting and ignoring were done not just by Confederates, but also by putative allies for whom the reduction of black people to serfdom was the unfortunate price of white unity. That's what Ezra Klein and Gavin Newsom want. That's what the abundance bros want. They want unity among white people. And they're mad at me and socialists for saying, no, I don't accept that deal. That's why when you're a socialist, you get reduced down. You lose your whiteness. You lose your privilege. The moment you become a communist, the moment you become a socialist, other white people put you into the same class as the racial hierarchy they dominate in. White liberals especially. That's why you see such viciousness toward white socialists by white liberals, because that's them getting their racial urges out, but they have a safe target. That's why you see so many white liberals hate my guts, because they get to do that. They get to get that impulse out of oppression, of domination, and they have a safe target. They love it. They love it. The import of this history has never been clearer than in this moment, when the hard question must be asked: if you look away from the words of Charlie Kirk, from what else would you look away? Like, they hate class traitors. They hate people that have privilege. That's why so many people go after Hassan so viciously. Nobody would care if he was just the average influencer having a house in Hollywood and one car. No one would. That wouldn't even be mentionable. But because he says we should raise taxes on me and provide everybody a good living, now suddenly it's something to comment on. Oh, if you believe everyone should have a good life, why do you have a good life? I don't know. I'm not going to comment on Hassan's house, and I'm not going to correct anybody for being wrong or correct, and just shut the fuck up about exactly what his house is. He's currently facing all sorts of weird threats. Just stop describing his house. Thank you. Consider this your only warning. Socialism is when you live in a cave. Yeah. I mean, like, honestly, Charlie Kirk is a scumbag, and I don't agree with violence. I don't think that violence on Charlie Kirk is productive, right? I don't agree with targeting online commentators or political commentators for vigilante violence. I think that's I can't encourage that. I mean, it's obviously against the rules of Twitch. So what do you expect me to say? Of course I have to condemn it. Of course I have to say it's bad. Those are the rules. That's the requirement. I want to stream, I have to say it's bad. And so I do. It's bad.
I want to talk about this a little bit. So we know about abundance. You know, we've all been abundant. For those of you who have not heard the term abundance before, it is the name of a political and social movement founded by the Abundance book by Derek Thompson and Ezra Klein. The book largely argues that we there needs to be abundance of stuff and we need less regulation. I mean, it's one of those things.
Okay, let me just say this. Abundance is not about having an abundance of stuff. Of course, we should have abundance of stuff. I see people every day who don't have anything. There needs to be more shit for those people. Now, if you're saying it's a redistributional thing, then we do redistribution. But personally, I believe we need to build a society that is abundant for every human being, all right, on the planet, okay? But we need to build it in a way that is sustainable and ecological. We need to have closed cycle systems, like obviously, right? Like we can't have abundance with the style of mindless consumerism and waste that we have today. But I don't think the problem with America is that we have too much stuff. I think the problem with America is that we have too much rotting shit. We have not enough, and it's not placed where it needs to be. So abundance is called wealth. I want more wealth for more people, right? I want you to have a home of your own. I want you to have high quality clothing, wholesome food. I want you to have energy efficient transportation that could whisk you around the world while doing the minimum amount of impact on the environment. I want us to have energy that's cheap and abundant, but also ecologically sustainable. But that's not what abundance is about. That's not what abundance is about. What abundance is about is a recommitting to neoliberal market fundamentalism, which is the idea that, see, the reason why our society sucks is we just haven't let the capitalists have enough power yet. We need to give the capitalists even more power. We need to put more power into the hands of the capitalists. We need to give the capitalists more profit. And if you look at our society over the last 40 years, which has been nothing but a trying of this strategy over and over and over again, and what you've seen is our shit is worse off than ever before. What we need to do is take power out of the hands of finance. We need to take power out of the hands of capital. We need to take resources from men like Elon Musk and stop them from being billionaires by stealing their shit, the government, taxes. So it's not stealing, it's taxing. And we need to take those assets and we need to say, stop building Cybertrucks. The market is saying right now, chat, I want you to understand that the market is saying to Elon Musk, you are the smartest man in the world because you build a Cybertruck. Raise your hand if you like Cybertrucks. Raise your hand if Cybertrucks are killing it in the automotive industry. Raise your hand if there's any reasonable evaluation of the car market that's saying Cybertrucks are killing it. So why the fuck is the market shooting Tesla up into the fucking roof? Why is it spiraling up into ever higher numbers? Because the stock market and the wealth of Elon Musk are completely unconnected to the actual economy. And that's why our society is failing, because men like Elon Musk are being rewarded because of financial speculation and a speculation bubble on Wall Street, as opposed to actually making our lives better in any measurable way. There is a disconnect between the market signals and human flourishing. And if we don't correct that problem, we are all gonna die.
And this has been kind of talked to death. One of those things that's basically like, actually, here's how capitalism could make capitalism better. Here's how to fuck yourself to virginity, that type thing, But the weird thing with some of this, one of the weird things has just been how popular this movement has gotten so quickly, how quickly it's become a part of the potential future of the Democratic Party. How quickly articles will be like, what's the future for the Democratic Party? Populism and socialism or abundance? And it's like, what are we doing here? Because Abundance is a book written by two guys. And before that book was written, no one was talking about this. But let's say like left-wing populism is an actual political tradition. And there's an actual tradition in America and in recent political history of people fighting for left-wing movements. We have politicians and leaders in America who have very recently, advocated for those sorts of movements. We have Mondami, things of that nature. So why is it that we're supposed to act like abundance is a real thing? And how quickly did they have a conference? You know what I mean? This book came out this year and they're already having a conference. So let's see. Dave Weigel, a writer I like a lot. It's important to have some journalists you like. This guy looks like he's going to save us. Okay, so let's look at the news about abundance. What's the deal with abundance? Oh, you know what I forgot? There's a Jerry Seinfeld thing. We'll maybe talk about that in a bit. At the abundance movement's largest.
Oh my God, we're getting Michael Burns is giving us stream highlights. Okay, Michael, I didn't know this was a stream highlight. I didn't know you were stream highlighting now. Which, of course, get your bag. I'm not saying don't get your bag. I'm just saying that I didn't realize it was a stream highlight.
This is it, and not any type of populism or egalitarianism.
No, so we're going to cut right to the chase because the progressive fear that the abundance movement was to take the Democratic Party isn't baseless at all. Oh, wait, we were right? They admit we were right? We caught them?
It bums me out, and it bums me out that the people who are pushing this ideology have more money, have more influence, have more power. They look like normal, nice guys. They write for the New York Times and the Atlantic. So, well, we can take them seriously. And I just don't.
Of course they have power. They're telling the rich exactly that they need more power. Of course they have power. They are the fucking court jesters. They're the guy who goes on his hands and knees so the king can get on his horse. They're the footstools of the rich and powerful. That's all Ezra Klein has ever been. He is that. That's what the New York Times is.
Hi, my name is Ezra Klein, and I'll be reading a brief passage from my new book with something Kenneth Thompson?
No, it's Derek.
Derek Thompson, called Abundance. This is from the preface. You open your eyes at dawn and turn in your cool bed sheets. You love your sheets. Despite the mewling from the banking apps, that is the one subscription you can't afford to cancel. Your digital corgi Neopet opens his cyber eyes and yawns too. Then, in perfect Spanish, he greets you respectfully and provides you with a pair of useful X threads to mull over. You smile at him. Unfortunately, your doggy lingo subscription did lapse. Whatever. Hola to you too, Pooch. You raise your hands like an organ player, poising to play. A motion which turns on your lights. Your apartment is amazing. 400 square feet of pure luxury. Blue LED lights that, yeah, maybe it drove you a little bit insane, but provide some great ambiance to the place. A curved screen monitor that's already showing the morning's AI-managed Dogecoin arbitrage, and a handful of digital screens showing off the NFTs you've won at work. This tableau is what constitutes your savings. You smile again as the tap at your window signals, breakfast is here. DoorDash for the win, you say to yourself. You're being knowingly ironic. An armed drone hovers impassively, and then in a sudden burst of violent movement, flails its articulated arms and throws your overnight oats. And here's the first blemish of the day. They're all over the floor. Oh, whatever. The Roomba needs some work. The year is 2050, and you feel abundant. You eat the remaining oats from the carton and drink a chocolate matcha-flavored liquid Wegovy caffeine pack and take a nifty shit and sit down at your computer. Time to work. An AI asks you a rapid series of questions for the next 8 hours. You answer automatically. Your eye movements are tracked by your own implanted devices and a series of discrete sensors planted around your apartment. You are docked pay for fidgeting too much during this period. Your job has something to do with B2B SaaS. You don't know if you're buying or selling it, but hastily constructed legal regimes around AI dating from the 2030s ensure your spot at the company. You don't know what businesses buy or sell SaaS at all now. But sometime around noon, a series of chimes remind you to open your window for the DoorDash drone, which gives you a bowl of kava. Kava is millennial slang for lunch now. It basically means overnight oats that you eat during the day. You eat with utensils made of a special paper-like fiber that dissolves as you eat the meal. Your Neuralink pings. Ouch! A friend is on vacation. You rapidly flip through their photos. They're drinking Tito's with Chi-Chi in the Tulum Special Prostitution Zone. You have no idea if your friend is real, if the photos are real, if you are real. You decide you'd like to kill yourself. For the 10th day in a row, you leave your apartment and bang on the SSRI dispenser at the CVS Health Mart care kiosk in the hallway. No luck. Just one pill today. You briefly consider throwing yourself out the window. You gaze out that window. New Irvine sucks to live in. The second war of the Newsom succession devastated most of the state. Funny, you think. All that over who could cut the ribbon on the first section of high-speed rail through the northern zone of the Central Valley Latino Agricultural Development Zone. You did not participate in the fighting, but did play a highly realistic mod for a shooter game based upon the conflict. The conflagration led to a temporary break in the bureaucracy of the state, which allowed for a slight relaxation in zoning laws, which gave rise to the impossible towers of your city. In your own way, you're grateful. Conflict brings innovation. Sometimes the buildings sway so hard in the wind that the flexing steel sounds like screaming. On occasion, some hideous act of gravity causes the towers to crash into each other. The streets are clean now. They're enveloped in shadow from the towers. And the cleansing campaigns to readjust property values burned out most of your serotonin circuits. It isn't even fun to kill homeless people anymore. You masturbate 11 times a day. You have not spoken to another person in weeks. You own nothing and you are unhappy. Whatever. You open your AI TV show module and plug in. White Lotus, Season 55. Let's set it in Dubai. Let's have Genghis Khan, Homer Simpson, Ana de Armas, and Ezra Klein on vacation. That's me. Full pen, sex scene setting, checked. Laugh knob to maximum. You lean back and prepare to screenshot the cheekiest lines. The year is 2050, and you live in abundant America.
Yeah. Not the laugh knob. Yeah. Yeah. I hope to be dead by then. Or in China. Over under on Central Committee mentioned in the House Oversight Committee hearing. Nah, none. The U.S. House panel asked online forum CEOs to testify after Charlie Kirk assassination. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, wait, Twitch? Just Twitch? Not a YouTube? No YouTube? Why only Twitch? Why no YouTube? No Kick? No YouTube? Well, the answer is yes, I will be mentioned in the congressional hearing. All right, we need to start ourselves. We need to start ourselves a Kick channel. Prepare to be clip chipped. They will never summon me to Congress. They don't have the balls. You guys, they would never summon me to Congress. If they did, that would make my fucking millennia. Please, please ask me to testify. Please ask me to testify. I would love it. Give me the microphone. Oh shit, I didn't link you guys that. All right. Let's start talking about the Charlie Kirk shooter, huh? All we did is talk about Charlie Kirk and then made fun of abundance. Oh, my favorite content creator got interviewed on Doomscroll. Kyle Kalinske, my favorite content creator. I really like that guy. He's very cool.
The suspected shooter in the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk has been formally charged with aggravated murder. Utah prosecutors say they'll seek the death penalty in this case. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson also faces charges of obstruction of justice and witness tampering, along with several other counts. The suspect appeared in court virtually for the first time yesterday, remaining silent as the charges were read against him. Also yesterday, prosecutors revealed new details about the hours following that fatal shooting, including a series of messages between the suspect and his roommate, who was also his romantic partner. According to charging documents, Robinson texted his partner shortly after the shooting about a note left under a keyboard, which allegedly said, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." The roommate later texted, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" To which Robinson responded, "I am. I'm sorry." The roommate then asked why. Robinson wrote back, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out." Prosecutors also said yesterday that Robinson's mother, who recognized him in the images released by law enforcement, told investigators her son had recently become more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. When asked whether the suspect targeted Kirk for his transgender views, Utah's Attorney General said that's for a jury to decide. Meanwhile, Attorney General Pam Bondi is facing backlash from both sides of the aisle over her comments that the Justice Department will absolutely target anyone engaging in hate speech. She made those comments in a podcast interview with Katie Miller, the wife of President Trump's top advisor, Stephen Miller, adding, quote, "There's free speech and then there's hate speech." Bondi later tried to clarify her comments, writing on social media, quote, Hate speech that crosses the line into threats of violence is not protected by the First Amendment. It's a crime. Many conservatives continue to push back, including Fox News analyst Britt Hume, who wrote, "Someone needs to explain to Ms. Bondi that so-called hate speech, repulsive though it may be, is protected by the First Amendment. She should know this." House Speaker Mike Johnson also weighed in, saying in part, quote, "We do not censor and silence disfavored viewpoints. People in America are allowed to say crazy things." The late Charlie Kirk himself posted last year, quote, "Hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's evil speech, and all of it is protected by the First Amendment." President Trump was asked about Bondi's remarks yesterday by ABC's John Carl.
And what do you make of Pam Bondi saying she's going to go after hate speech? Is that, I mean, a lot of your allies say hate speech is free speech.
Should probably go after people like you because you treat me so unfairly. It's hate. You have a lot of hate in your heart. Maybe they'll come after ABC. Well, ABC paid me $16 million recently for a form of hate speech, right? Your company paid me $16 million for a form of hate speech. So maybe they'll have to go after you. Look, we want everything to be fair. It hasn't been fair. And the radical left has done tremendous damage to the country. But we're fixing it.
But more parts of the administration are reacting to the Charlie Kirk killing. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says visa revocations are underway for non-U.S. citizens who publicly celebrated the murder of the conservative activist. The secretary announcing that update on social media, writing in part, "If you're here on a visa and cheering on the public assassination of a political figure, prepare to be deported." Rubio explained the decision in an interview with Fox.
We are not in the business of inviting people to visit our country who are going to be involved in negative and destructive behavior. Okay, so why should, if I invite someone, if we invite someone to visit the United States of America as a student, as a tourist, as whatever, then they have a different, the standard they should be held to is very high. We shouldn't be bringing people into this country. We should not be giving visas to people who are going to come to the United States and do things like celebrate the murder, the execution, the assassination of a political figure. We should not. And if they're already here, we should be revoking their visa.
Now, the State Department under the Trump administration has already revoked hundreds of visas in an immigration crackdown targeting students with pro-Palestinian views. Last month, the State Department began vetting all U.S. visa holders, over 55 million in total, for potential violations that could result in deportations.
Did you hear what happened to the old man who was arrested at the Charlie Kirk event? Yeah, I did. Italian dock workers are saying are making an announcement. We will follow the laws of humanity, which are not the laws of the bad people who are running this country. On September 11th, Genoa's dock workers, represented by CALP and USB, convened an emergency assembly with respect to the global, the global Samud flotilla. The fact that these attacks on the boats in no way have been managed by any means to take away our resolve. It is not at all acceptable, explainable, that we send 17,000 containers to Israel. We cannot send 50 tons of humanitarian aid that we cannot get into Gaza. At the request of the dockworkers of Genoa, we have united in our will to proclaim a general strike. These are our marching orders. We have decided this day will be, as of now, the 22nd of September. In June, Prime Minister Maloney's government criminalized blockades, punishable by up to 7 years in prison. The dock workers' strike would directly challenge this new law. But we made a law silencing you. Yeah, I mean, these guys are incredibly brave because they are taking on the Italian government and taking on the risk of criminal charges. This isn't just like a one-day action where, you know, we all feel good about ourselves and go back to work. This is, we are violating a law, facing felony time in prison. That is incredibly brave. That is solidarity. And these guys are fucking kings. I wish people liked stuff like that. I wish people liked and promoted things like that. But people don't. They don't give a shit.
We now know the charges against Charlie Kirk's alleged killer, as well as the key evidence against him and the death sentence he could face if convicted. We also heard him speak during his video conference court hearing late.
You got me all wrong, man. I'm not a huge fan of everything he does, but I do recognize the thing he has done successfully. There are places over the planet that do not have good internet that now do because of Starlink. Elon did that. Seriously, if everything he's accomplished with his money is easy, then we should see other wealthy people do the same, but they can't and they don't. So we can talk shit all we want, but we aren't launching rockets and filling the sky with our satellites. Couple things here. First of all, Starlink is garbage. And it is polluting the fucking near Earth, low Earth orbit with way too much noise. Starlink is stupid. It's an inefficient way to get internet to all places all across the planet. We should be building hard infrastructure, microwave relay towers, fiber optic cables. We should be laying that shit all across the planet. Satellites are crap. Like we should be getting internet to Africa by building hard infrastructure across Africa, not satellites that suck shit. Like, let's be honest. Like, you come on. And the second thing is, what do you mean accomplished? He stole Russian rocket designs and NASA rocket designs. The only innovation, which is landing the boosters back, hasn't really even saved that much money. And we haven't had a renaissance of new activity in low Earth orbit. It's just not come to pass. He's made vaporware promises. The Starship to this day is years and years and years behind development schedule. It can't even reach low Earth orbit, and he's done it off the backs of billions of dollars of taxpayer investment.
Today.
Are we ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Calling case 251-403-576, State of Utah versus Tyler James Robinson. Could you state your name?
Tyler James Robinson.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Robinson.
Well, the 22-year-old said nothing more. He showed no emotion and little outward expression as the charges were read. Aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, 2 counts of obstruction of justice, 2 counts of witness tampering, and the commission of a violent offense in the presence of a child. The aggrieved murder charge is a capital offense, as trial judge Tony Graff explained.
The defendant knowingly created a great risk of death to another individual other than Charlie Kirk and the defendant. Notice conviction of this offense may carry the death penalty or pursuant to Utah Code 76-3-207.7, a mandatory term of imprisonment for life without parole or an indeterminate term of not less than 25 years.
Well, the judge appointed an attorney to represent Robinson. He also granted a pretrial protective order for Charlie Kirk's widow and set the next court date for the 29th. It capped a day that began with prosecutors sharing new information on the case, including a series of text messages between Robinson and his roommate, who, according to court documents, is transitioning from male to female, and authorities say they are also romantically involved. Now, prosecutors say these messages were sent after the shooting on September 10th. Quoting now, "Drop what you're doing, look under my keyboard." Authorities say his partner found a note that Robinson had left, and it read, quote, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." More text messages now in response to that note. Prosecutors refer to the partner as the roommate. The roommate said, "What? You're joking, right?" Robinson, "I'm still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you." Robinson's roommate, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" Robinson, "I am. I'm sorry." The roommate, "I thought they caught the person." Robinson, "No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering." Roommate, "Why?" Robinson, "Why did I do it?" Roommate, "Yeah." Robinson, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it." And then later, prosecutors say Robinson's partner asked, quote, "How long have you been planning this?" Robinson, "A bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it." Robinson, according to prosecutors, later wrote, "Delete this exchange," adding later, Robinson,
"It's always incredible to me how history is made by the people that are the dumbest. It is really amazing. What do you think happens when you send text messages? they're recorded by your telephone operator. They're recorded by iMessage, okay? Like, unless you have a encrypted connection, and even then, the government probably has backdoors into your encrypted message apps. You should, in your life, assume that every single thing you write in text will eventually be published publicly. If you practice that, you will probably be better off. Now, all of us occasionally slip up and write something in a private message to someone that we probably wouldn't want everybody to see. But Jesus Christ, I mean, this seems almost too stupid. Like you wrote an outright confession in text message. Like, what the fuck are you? What? That seems almost fake. Hard to believe it's real. What 22-year-old writes vehicle and text messages? It doesn't sound like a Zoomer to me. It doesn't sound like a Zoomer to me. Sounds like a 45-year-old FBI agent wrote it. To me. I'm not saying it's fake for sure. I'm just saying that it doesn't strike me as a 22-year-old Zoomer. It sounds like a Gen X or a Zillennial wrote these text messages.
Talk to the media, please. Don't take any interview.
Who says delete this exchange? I wouldn't even write delete this exchange. I would write delete the text if I was dumb enough to text like this. If the FBI were faking this, they'd make him more leftist. I mean, they made him Macklemore. They made him leftist enough. He said, I'm tired of his hate.
Or make any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. A lot to get to in the hour ahead. Starting us off tonight, CNN senior national correspondent Ed Lavandera is at the UVU campus in Orem, Utah, where the killing took place. So authorities seem confident they have this confession.
Okay, I don't understand people, man. It really, really is surprising to me how people operate. Do you not realize how long your life actually is? Do you not realize how long your life actually fucking is? And do you not understand the punishment for murder is severe? Did you see Destiny got banned from Twitch by Elon? What the fuck are you talking about? He's been banned from Twitch for years. You mean Twitter? You mean Twitter? Looks like he's still around. Looks like he's still around. LMAO, Charlie Kirk was a pussy who would never dream of issuing such a challenge. There's a reason we had to literally stick it to his events. People on the right have been avoiding debates for years and lessons with unprepared college kids. Defund the police wasn't stupid because it was bad messaging. It was stupid because it was stupid. This motherfucker doesn't even... He knows literally nothing about public policy. He knows literally nothing about public policy. Nothing. Zero. Zilch. America has more... Do you know Chicago has 3 times as many police as Toronto? They're across the lake from each other. I'm sorry, it's not 3 times, chat. It's twice as many. It's twice as many. Chicago has 11,850, while Toronto has 5,500, meaning Chicago has 6,350 more officers than Toronto. They're pretty much the same population. So why? Oh, wait. Oh, man. I know what will help Chicago. Another 5,000. Make it 3 times. I mean, Toronto has a murder rate that's like a third of Chicago. Again, he's just stupid. He's stupid as fuck. He's stupid as fuck. The reason why we have more violence in America is because we have more guns. We have less social spending. We have more income inequality. Chicago and Toronto are basically the same fucking town. Except what's different between them, public policy is a lot worse in Chicago. Not saying Toronto is run well. It's run well compared to Chicago.
Is it clear to you what outstanding questions they may have tonight?
Unreal. Elon Musk and other conservatives just got me banned from Twitch. He was banned for years. This is a meme, dude. He's literally memeing. See how there's a... Destiny was already banned from Twitch in March 2022. So in other words, Destiny is... Like, they're going to blame Twitch for Destiny? He's been banned off the platform for 3 fucking years. And the reason why he blocked me is because he's a fucking pussy. I blocked him back because you don't get to reply to my shit. Guys, he was banned years ago for calling for the mass killing of Black Lives Matter protesters, but don't tell the right wing that. They might try to get him unbanned.
It's hard to imagine how much more evidence they would need to prove that Tyler Robinson was behind all of this. According to all of the text messages you've just been reading, remember there's also messages afterwards in a Discord chat that, according to the Washington Post report, that Robinson had sent a group on that chat essentially saying that he has bad news, that he was the one who carried out the shooting at UVU yesterday. And there's also, according to investigators, DNA evidence found on the rifle and a towel and screwdriver that was found in that wooded area by campus. But throughout all of this, Anderson, you look at the mindset of this suspect, and Tyler Robinson, in the moments, in the minutes after the shooting, he was more concerned about retrieving the weapon that he had left in the woods. This is one of those texts that he sent his roommate, according to prosecutors here. Quote, "I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I worry about Prince. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find Prince. How the F will I explain losing it to my old man?" So this message apparently sent in some time shortly after the shooting of Charlie Kirk, and despite that horrific act, he was more concerned about being able to get back this family heirloom rifle to get it back to his home in southwest Utah.
And when is he going to be in front of a judge again?
Well, he had his initial appearance today where he was told of his rights.
My old man is so boomer coded. Yeah. My old man. Yeah. I mean, again, it's wild to me. This is really wild to me because I don't understand it. It's like, okay, you're going to go shoot a guy, but you don't have a plan for the weapon? You don't have a plan for the weapon? You don't have a guitar case? You don't have like literally any plan at all? Take 5 minutes. Like, what the fuck is this? Oh, I'm just going to throw it in the woods right next to the fucking shooting site. They're going to fucking canvas the entire area. They're going to do a search grid. They're going to look everywhere. The fuck are you talking about? That's what's crazy to me. It's like, it's wild. It's wild. It's wild. I mean, that's why like people that have the ability to like plan and think and like, evaluate how to do this kind of shit don't do it. That's why you don't see well-adjusted, intelligent people murder other people like this. People don't murder. Like, this is just dopery. This is stupidity. That's why most murders instigated by the intelligence services, or, you know what I mean? Like, people don't do this kind of shit, these kind of shootings. Mentally ill people grab a gun and shoot up a school for attention. Like, this doesn't even make sense to me. It's an incomprehensible crime.
ABC wasn't this touched when Charlie's widow wept in front of the nation. And the far left is acting like Charlie had it coming.
If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Donald Trump...
This guy is not the left! He specifically said he's not the left!
Shouldn't have been president for the second term.
You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed when they go to events so that they look to their leadership to turn down the temperature. The issue is right now, they don't feel like there's any fear.
That guy's name's Destiny. And he just learned his fate. He's fired and banned from making any more money on his site.
All right. Okay. This is idiotic. This is fucking idiotic. Okay, this is fucking idiotic. God, these people are so stupid. There you go. I'll help them out. Like, it's so, like, the stupidity of these people, the water on their conservative brains is incredible. If you have any other crimes of Destiny's, or, for example, the fact that he laughed at the firefighter who was killed at the Trump assassination, that might be something to put into the replies. That might be something to put into the replies, you know? If you would think Fox News should be tagged, you know, that might be something you might want to include. There you go, chat.
Judge says later this month, I believe it was September 29th, he is expected to appear in court for what will be a preliminary hearing, and that is where all the probable cause evidence will be presented, and a judge will determine if there's enough evidence to continue on. He was also appointed or will be in the process of getting a court-appointed attorney. The judge today said that he's indigent and would qualify for a court-appointed attorney, an attorney who will be able to handle and is capable of handling a death penalty case, because prosecutors here in Utah insist that they will continue, and if I filed a motion too.
Yeah. Isn't it good if they think they got a wing? Why are we helping them? Have you ever heard of the concept of blue on green violence? If right-wingers take out Destiny, that's friendly fire. We're encouraging friendly fire.
seek the death penalty in this case.
Ed Levendera, thanks very much. Joining me now for more on the latest in the investigation, CNN Chief Law Enforcement and Intelligence Analyst John Miller, former federal prosecutor Danya Perry, and retired FBI profiler and director of George Mason University's Forensic Science Program, Mary Ellen O'Toole. Danya, we mentioned this text message. The suspect says some hate can't be negotiated. That certainly seems to point to motive.
Yeah, I mean, as a former federal and state prosecutor, you couldn't wish for better evidence than what Ed just laid out.
This is a huge amount of evidence.
It's a huge, I mean, it's a gift wrap package tied up with a bow. It's not just a confession. He said, I'm sorry, the person that did it. And then he offered a motive. He did say, as Ed reported, there's too much hate. And he also provided significant evidence of planning and then also of cover-up. And as Ed said, there is not evidence of remorse there or of concern for the individual who was killed or for bystanders who might have been hurt. It seemed that he was mostly concerned about getting out of it and of consequences within his family. So yeah, from the prosecutor's perspective, I'm not.
This is really strong evidence that's been done in text that will make this conviction really easy. I'm sorry, chat, but this is a perfect gift.
Surprised that this Utah state attorney sought the death penalty. Certainly there's a lot of focus, a lot of scrutiny, a lot of pressure, and the facts, if ever there's an aggravated murder charge, the facts certainly point to it and the evidence certainly lines up.
And Mary Ellen, I mean, I'm wondering what you make of what we heard from the suspect today. I mean, obviously he just said his name in the hearing. But in that text exchange with his partner's roommate, what stood out to you?
Well, listening to his texts and reading them, I kept going back to the phrase that you just referenced, which was, hate cannot be negotiated out. It's a weird statement to make. And as I read it and I went back over statements that I've reviewed over the years when I was still with the FBI, it's the way it's stated almost seems like he's saying, and I had no choice because it could not be negotiated out. So I'm sure investigators are going to be looking at that. And what does that say? That it certainly suggests to me that he was feeling somewhat desperate to address the situation in an extremely inappropriate and lethal way. And I think that's consistent with his personality, which seems to be almost devoid of any emotion, particularly for the victim. He doesn't reference the victim. He doesn't talk about Charlie. He talks about his mom. He talks about his quote unquote old man and how the father is going to be upset with him. So it's a very odd kind of an emotional expression of who he is. And that may be consistent with him. And I think we saw that today in court as well. There was no emotion. And yet here's a young man facing the death penalty. So I think that emotional part of him is a big part of what motivated this and what we're going to see in the courtroom. And people are going to jump to a lot of conclusions. But there are a lot of people in this world who emotionally, they don't manifest emotions like you and I do. They're very, very reserved, and they're very shallow with their emotions, except to people that are extremely close to them.
I guess I shouldn't walk away when a video is playing, huh? Wait, Hassan went on ABC?
Hassan Piker, welcome to 7:30.
Now, the Australian network? What the fuck did this happen? Was this on stream? Cracky.
Were live streaming when Charlie Kirk was killed. Can you describe that and also what your immediate thoughts were about what the consequences would be?
I was live streaming, covering the day's news as I do every day. And at first I didn't believe it. And then we immediately started scouring the internet to find if there was any footage from the incident, because I knew that there would be people filming, and we found some. And then there was, complete confirmation after I saw a close-up incident shot. Oh my God, I can't believe I just saw that. Oh my God. And obviously I was horrified. And watching that unfold to someone that you were supposed to sit next to publicly in a public setting only in a couple weeks it made it even more real. Someone that I knew, someone that I was not exactly friends with, but a counterpart on the ideologically opposite side.
As you're watching that, you've got a lot of people live commenting. How do you manage what they say?
Yeah, I mean, we are very desensitized to violence, I think, in general. So there are always going to be people that especially under the guise of anonymity online, people to just say things without really thinking about it, being careless. And I wanted to stamp that out immediately. First, because I feel like it reflects poorly on them, it reflects poorly on everyone involved, but also because I think that instantly I knew that this was going to be something that the administration will use against those that they've declared political dissidents. And unfortunately, my fears were realized shortly after, when Donald Trump came out only a couple hours after announcing Charlie Kirk's untimely demise, and make a statement about how they were basically going to start prosecuting and persecuting political dissidents, the left, as he said.
Since then, we've had J.D. Vance, other senior figures in the administration say that they're going to go after what they call terror networks, who they say are behind this. What are you expecting, or what do you fear from them?
I don't know. I don't know what that political prosecution is going to look like, considering that we have a First Amendment in the American Constitution that actually makes the government attempts at doing things like that wholly unconstitutional. So I don't know. It's not like this administration is shy about eroding constitutional protections or going after people's civil liberties. So who knows where they might take it? I just hope that the broad American appetite for anger and vengeance will be soothed by how fast they get distracted elsewhere.
Is it actually safe to be in the public sphere right now?
I mean, I have a policy of not letting fear dictate my life, and I'm going to continue abiding by that policy because, like I said, time and time again, this is an unfortunate but all too common side effect of this field that I'm in. And I don't just do rallies, political rallies. I don't just do public events where I go out and speak or even debate people. I also go to protests where I get shot at by the American police. So I'm no stranger to putting myself in harm's way. And it's unfortunately something that I have to do in order to do my job properly. So I'm most likely going to continue. I'm just waiting out this initial period of unrest and anger and resentment and taking extra precautions. But I will probably go back to business as usual.
What's your favorite insult for Australians? What's like the favorite things? Like what like Bogan news? Like Bogan? How do you say that? Vegemite eater news? Bogan news? Call them New Zealanders? I don't want to insult New Zealanders like that, though. I don't want to compare them to Australians. That's fucking mean, dude. I know. Beach Canadian. Show chat what a bogan is. Hey, man, your #1 viewer is from Australia. Ew. I'll just say Aussie news. And before they call me a tank. We call Yang septic tanks around here.
Hopefully when the temperature is lowered a little bit.
Charlie Kirk's language included offensive statements about Muslims, about black and brown people, about immigrants, about transgender people. But since his death, he's been praised for his openness to debate.
Time to leave VODs, Mike. It won't matter. We got it all saved. Oh, no. Invite me down to DC. Also, Destiny's far more likely to end up in prison than me. He mocked the fucking firefighter's death. And he's got revenge porn and child porn. Oh no, they're gonna do this. Oh no, they're gonna yell at Twitch. Oh no. Who gives a fuck? All right, we'll do Charlie Kirk assassination fallout continues. Hassadabi on Aussie news. Destiny wishes he was on the Epstein list. Destiny's fervent wish was that he had a time machine so he could go and make friends with Jeffrey Epstein.
What do you think about that praise from people like Ezra Klein from the New York Times who said he was doing politics the right way.
I think it's dishonest, simply put. And it's not necessarily because Charlie Kirk wasn't open to platforming people which he disagreed with. I myself am one of those people. So technically, it's not incorrect to say that he is willing to debate people. But to state that he was doing politics the right way without actually reflecting on his political output, I think is dishonest. The medium itself obviously was utilized for cutting propaganda for the Trump administration. But also, what I found to be distasteful was the lack of quotes or the lack of recognition for Charlie Kirk's ideology. It makes it seem as though the New York Times is outright endorsing Charlie Kirk's opinions and ideology by omitting it, because it leaves the readers who may not be aware of Charlie Kirk's worldview with a totally different outlook on Charlie Kirk's political advocacy, one that the New York Times is either subscribed to or one that liberals, prominent liberals like Ezra Klein, seemingly don't care enough about to even mention.
But for you, those extreme statements didn't make you want to stop doing public debates with him?
I think it's not a matter of what things people say, but more so from my perspective, at least. And everyone has a different attitude about platforming, but from my perspective, it's more so a matter of how much political influence this person wields. So for Charlie Kirk, I mean, he was the regime's guy. He had a lot of influence, both over the Trump administration and a lot of influence over a lot of young conservatives in this country that were a part of his massive advocacy network, Turning Point USA. So in that regard, it's not necessarily debating someone whose ideas are beyond the pale, but instead it's more so about trying to stop the bleeding in terms of letting these kinds of dangerous ideas spread without any sort of contention, without any sort of pushback whatsoever. Once a person gets to a level of notoriety and a level of legitimacy, it's impossible to avoid them. I think closing your eyes and plugging your ears and just hoping they go away simply is not going to work. So at that point, I think it's valid, no matter how strange or horrifying or dehumanizing their rhetoric might be.
You've written about meeting with him a few years ago, saying he was much more genial than you expected. What did you learn about him that day?
He was he was very professional. He was very cordial, and he wasn't shy about trying to develop a personal relationship with even someone like myself. But I didn't really entertain that because I did find his opinions, which were much more moderate at the time, back in 2017, as opposed to what it became by 2020 and onward. But even then, I did not understand the productivity of hanging out in a cordial manner with someone who I opposed so vehemently because of their worldview.
I gotta tell you this, chat, that if Charlie Kirk had ever come up to me, I would have been like, "You're a disgusting slug. Stay the fuck away from me." I never would understand palling around with a guy who was advocating for the mass murder of migrants, the genocide of the Palestinian people. I think it's fucking depraved to like a guy like that, who takes $100 million from oligarchs to spread propaganda, who takes naive college kids and their likenesses and their desire for good faith debate and plaster those people in front of disgusting stalker right-wing fascists. And he knows what his fans are. That guy was a piece of shit. Ew.
Having said that, reflecting on our private correspondence at the time, I realized, like I'm telling you right now,
Roach Valhalla. I love myself. I love myself an Asmund viewer, dude. That's what they call his house. In cockroach language, that's what they call the Asmongold house. If you're a really, really good cockroach drone, when you die, you're reborn in Asmongold's house, Roach Valhalla. Holy shit, that's awesome. Oh no, did your account get perma'd? Damn.
I'm
trying to imagine Like, I've always known about, you know, I've talked about the Red Scare and shit like that. They know better than to invite us now. They're not going to invite me or Hassan. Maybe they'll invite Hassan, but they know better than to invite us. They're going to invite cowardly corporate drones who are going to go up there and go, yes, sir, no, sir, we care about this very much. We care about this very much, sir. We're trying to prevent it. And it's like, nobody here is calling for fucking anything. We're too pussy. Like, come on. No one's calling for violence. The only person who calls for violence is Asmongold. I say vote for Zoran Mamdani and Bernie Sanders, and I have for 6 fucking years. Like, come on. It would be nice if white so-called allies stopped debating the KKK. I have one opinion and you crash out. Get over your white selves. You're so pathetic. Bro, the FBI used to be so much better at this. The FBI used to be so much better than this. How are you an FBI agent and this is what you do all day? How are you like this? Or are you like an early AI bot? Are you one of these SOCOM bots? Charlie Kirk was getting $100 million a year from the oligarchs. He was on Fox News. The vice president co-hosted his show. What are you talking about? What delusional world are you in where we're platforming Charlie Kirk? Like, are you okay? Are you fucking delusional? The right wing, we are the ones being platformed. If I debate someone, I'm being platformed. I'm not platforming shit. Okay? I don't debate 10 viewer Andy racists. All right? You are fucking delusional. Fuck out of here with your fake account.
His opinions definitely changed quite a bit. I recall a time where he was talking about writing a piece potentially on how he found it morally repugnant to compare Black Lives Matter.
I gotta say, I kind of
the
agree
KKK.
with that chatter. That chatter is nonsensically insane. How many times have I debated a racist on my stream? How many times have I debated a racist on my stream? How many times have I brought a 0 viewer Andy racist onto my stream? How many times have I platformed a person with no viewers who is a racist? It has literally never happened. That chatter came in here, followed for 5 minutes, and started posting divisive shit that does not describe my stream ever. I temper myself in predominantly white spaces. Y'all not ready for it? I mean, you've been here for years and years and years. So I don't know if you're thinking about some other person or some other streamer, but it ain't me. I don't do that shit. So I'm not going to let people come in here and pretend that it is happening here. Like, come on. And like, Charlie Kirk is not being platformed by Hassan. He's not being platformed by me. They're platforming us. If they debate us, he is literally the friend of the president of the United States of America. You are in, I want to live in the world you live in. I am the one in power, and Charlie Kirk is the one gaining prominence from me or Hassan. I want to live in your world, your fantasy world. That sounds delightful. I want to live in the world where yelling at Mike from PA and Hassan was what we needed to win. That is my fantasy. My fantasy is to live in the world where I am the most conservative person on the planet. That would be fucking based. Like, it is crazy. It's a hallucination. I know it's safe to like yell at me because I have no power and I'm being targeted by the fascist right. And I would be arrested far before any of you. Let's be honest. Let's be honest with this. I'm not trying to claim to be some sort of martyr. I'm not. But like, come on. What are you doing? We're watching from prison? Hell yeah. Except for my prison people who are arrested for some other thing. But you weren't arrested for leftism. Yeah, if they had no leftists who would agree to go on the show and eventually crash out, where does the change start? Have I ever watched Jubilee on my show? This is the new rule. If you're going to criticize white leftists in my channel, which is totally fine, please have it be something that I'm doing that needs to be corrected, not something someone else is doing. I don't watch Jubilee. I think I've watched Jubilee clips 1 time or 2 times. I've always hated Jubilee. I didn't react to the content nuke. I'm getting blamed for shit everyone else does that I do not do because I think it's garbage. Please start making your critiques about Mike, not about someone else. And I wish, one of the things that we do as a psychological cope is we think, well, if we just ignore a problem, it'll go away. If we just ignore Destiny, it'll go away. If we just ignore Ethan Klein, it'll go away. If we just ignore Charlie Kirk, it'll go away. That is your avoidant personality disorder kicking in. That is your immaturity kicking in. That is your childishness kicking in. That is hiding under your bed. That's not how the world works. That's not how fights are won. We didn't get the victories we've had in the past by hiding under our bed and hoping it goes away. We won victories when we all looked at each other and realized it's not gonna go away. And we got off our fucking asses and did something about it. Have you seen how chatters and Mike react to the very legitimate point the chatter made? Okay, listen, you're a longtime chatter, and I understand that there's certain feelings about that have been promoted in spaces that I do not align with on this platform, who nonetheless call themselves the left, that are not true about me. And I don't care about other channels. I only want criticism about me and my channel and things that I do. I don't care about you criticizing other creators in this space, kind of half aimed at me, but not. Don't say white leftists do this in my chat, because that implies that you're talking about me. Unless you name a name, say so-and-so does this, then we'll talk about it. Don't say white leftists when I don't do that thing in my chat, because you're just distracting us and you're causing, and then you start to feel, you feel like you're being oppressed for your take, and it's like, you're talking about someone else in my channel. That's what you're getting yelled out for. You're not getting yelled at for criticizing white leftists. You're getting yelled at for implying I do a thing that I don't do. Don't do that. Say Mike does this. This is a problem. That's different. That's a criticism of me. I'm open to that. Mike has a blind spot because of this. That's a different conversation than white leftists do this. That is a way of making a critique that's not precise about, and then what am I supposed to do? Be like, no, you can't criticize white leftists? Of course you can. But that's not a critique that is actually grounded in anything that I can engage with. Give me a critique that's real about stuff that I do. You guys mentioned things I don't do. Watch Jubilee, debate no following KKK people. Those are things I do not do and have never done. The only exception is I watched the Hassan Jubilee episode because everybody said it was it was good and important. And he was basically said they wanted him deported. That's the only time I can remember watching Jubilee. I hate when you and Hassan use autistic in the place of the R slur. Weird. I only use autistic to talk about myself. I only use autistic to talk about myself, to try to understand how I relate to the world. I don't call other people autistic, and if I do, it's extremely rare, and it's meant in a positive fashion, where I'm talking about like dedication to justice or something, which is a trait that I share. I don't call people autistic. Maybe Hassan does that. I don't. I never use the R slur. Again, you're just making shit up. For example, white fragility. I've been talking about this since 2019. I got banned for it. I got banned for a white fragility stream. How many white leftist streamers got banned for a white fragility stream? How many white leftist streamers do you know got banned for talking about picket lines and strikes, scabulous? How many people got banned for, do you know, white leftists that have been banned on Twitch for doing a union organizing stream? How many white leftists do you know have been banned for white fragility? None? Actually, it's one, me. So again, let's talk about stuff I do. We have chatters here who go to ham on randos. Not a fan myself. I mean, when somebody makes a brand new account, and then if you're a longtime chatter, if somebody makes a brand new account, they eject racially charged language into the chat for the purpose of causing infighting, and you feed into that, I'm going to ban you for being stupid and getting tricked by an instigator who's not actually part of any of these communities. Be smarter, for the love of God. And it's like, I consider, you know, the members of my community that come from diverse places, my trans members of my community, the black members of my community, these are people that I take their critiques and their how comfortable they are extremely seriously. And I know Hassan does as well. But there are people who are not participants in this community who talk about it, and they have never chatted in my chat. They have never participated in my community, or they've only come around for drama. They are not actually good faith critiquers of my community. They don't watch this channel. They don't hang out here. They don't participate here. I disagree with Mike on his Puerto Rico takes. Doesn't mean I think he's the devil or stands anti-PR liberation. I know Mike comes from a place I want to understand and talk. Some folks being weird as fuck. Those people don't actually, like, my take on Puerto Rico is independence or statehood now, today. And the Puerto Rican people are the ones who decide. We can't have colonization where they are dominated and like they are in the status quo. The status quo is colonization, it's domination, it needs to end. They either need to have full democratic rights or be a complete independent state that's not a puppet state. That's my position on Puerto Rico. I don't know how you disagree with that position unless you are, you know, completely dedicated to Puerto Rican nationalism as a Puerto Rican, which I totally get. I totally understand. That's my position on it. Mike, I think you failed to sufficiently shit on Kamala Harris for not speaking out about Charlie Kirk, but saying nothing about Gaza other than assuring donors her stepdaughter doesn't represent her views. You must be brand new. Okay. You must be brand new. Oh, you're not. You're an old head. Okay, you know that I went after Kamala Harris incredibly harshly. Oh, Vio, thank you. Wow. What is this? Vio, early lunch. Look at that. Early lunch. Thank you, Vio. Unasked for. Big target. Anyway, chat, again, criticize me. Don't make these wide gestures at criticism because it feels good and it feels like it's true. Be like, Mike does this thing. That's the criticism that I'm interested in. I'm not interested in people like Mike do this thing, but Mike doesn't actually do that, but I'm not going to mention that. Like, it's weird. It's a weird thing to do. I never said Elon wants communism. Again, you have some kind of lens that's warping how you read, but I'm saying that Elon is accelerating capitalism, eating itself alive. That's cope. That's cope. No one has been relitigating anything lately, so I don't know where this is coming from. Oh, a chatter made a fake account to just basically try to do racially charged shit. And I went off on a rant on it after I banned him 10 minutes ago. So that's really my fault as a streamer. My bad. Let's keep going.
KK. And what's interesting about that is today's Charlie Kirk and today's media environment in this incredibly divisive landscape. When I say that, you would assume that maybe he was actually highlighting the KKK as a good thing and BLM as a bad thing. But at the time, he actually was saying, look, I have disagreements with Black Lives Matter, but the Ku Klux Klan is an entirely separate organization that is totally and utterly morally repugnant. And I think that was interesting for me to find out because I had forgotten about this conversation. But it was interesting for me to find out and really reconsider how much.
Every ban I have on Twitch for saying something about how leftists treat black people, every single one, I've never new chatter. There are places I've donated like hundreds of dollars to. I wear those stripes with pride of the graves of my ancestors. Yeah, but it's not me. You know it's not me. You're talking about places that used to be Vosh places. You're talking about Voshite places that have nothing to do with me. Come on. You know it's not me. You're talking about someone else again. The former Destiny Orbiter, the former Vosh Orbiters. That's who you're talking about. You're not talking about me. I was against Vosh when he was harassing Professor Flowers. They were in favor of it. Like, you know, I was against Destiny when he was saying the N-word and pretending that cracker and gusano were slurs. They were saying that shit. You're talking about a different community, man. Like, you are. It's not me. Don't blame me for Vosh shit. I was the first person to go against Vosh in all of Twitch leftism. I was the one who said he sucked first. I mean, hell, Hassan was neutral on Vosh when I was going after him. So, like, come on. You're not talking about me. Not talking about me. Talk about someone else. Yes, I did see that.
The American right has shifted on a lot of issues.
Can you explain why Charlie Kirk resonated so much with Generation Z?
Just TikTok. I think TikTok was fearful of a ban, and they recognized that if they give Trump something, that if they give Trump more access, or if they give him or his main guy, Charlie Kirk, an algorithm boost, which TikTok seemingly did do, and this is Trump's own statements on TikTok, that they would probably get a stay of execution, which they did. And I think the reason why he had a lot of staying power with Gen Z was, as opposed to how little influence the organization Turning Point USA had prior to Charlie Kirk's TikTok initiatives, was both because of the algorithmic boost that they most likely got, or they were in front of a lot more people, like real eyeballs that they were getting, real attention they were getting from a fairly young platform. And also the structural issues that my generation and the generation after mine have been experiencing. And the Democrats at the time and their inability to address these structural issues with reasonable legislation created a lot of anger. The very same type of anger that led Donald Trump to win in 2016 was still there. And it was not addressed by the administration at the time. So people looked for that exact same alternative that would be a destructive force of these institutions that very clearly were not helping people mitigate the affordability crisis that they were experiencing. Very clearly not helping people buy houses. A lot of people in Gen Z, I think, recognize that they're never going to retire at a reasonable age, that they're never going to be able to own a home, and that hopelessness and that anger was palpable. That's the reason, I think, why they chose to take a shot in the dark in the direction of a dangerous and unstable an incompetent fascist like Donald Trump. So it wasn't all Charlie Kirk. It was more so environmental factors that played a big role in this. And the reason why I say that is because the Gen Z opinion on Donald Trump swung dramatically back in the opposite direction because they very quickly realized that Donald Trump is also not invested in fixing any of these problems that he was tasked with solving.
I want to ask you about your own rhetoric. I noticed that Elon Musk has been posting about you.
Yes.
And I don't know the context of these particular statements, but here's a quote from you about landlords who don't want to rent out their properties. You said, kill them, murder them, let the streets soak in their red capitalist blood. Doesn't that...
When was this from? This must be from like 2018. He was kidding. But this must be really old. How old was this? How old was this? Chat, if you disapprove with that message, we have a community meme. If you disapprove of that message, we do Peepo smile. Everybody Peepo smile. It's basically when you're clenching your teeth because you disagree with something so much. You're like, I disagree with this.
Make you part of the problem with violent discourse?
This was in a conversation that I was having with a landlord friend of mine, and it's of course hyperbolic, and it's not meant to be sincere. It's not sincere advocacy. It's not a real policy that I would ever advocate for, and that's precisely the reason why when Republicans were desperately looking for any sort of incisive language that they could present, they went back to a very obvious instance of LARPing, an insincere statement that is obviously hyperbolic from, I believe, 2018.
My question stands nonetheless. Doesn't that kind of language contribute to the atmosphere of violent, even lethal violence in the United States?
I don't believe that my insincere statements that don't reflect on any of my beliefs whatsoever in 2019 has led to any sort of real world violence whatsoever.
Just talking about what people are being exposed to online, Australia's about to introduce a social media ban for people under the age of 16. Given the violent discourse that we're discussing, could that be a solution?
I don't think so. I don't know if a walled garden approach would perhaps be a little bit better and a little bit more productive in terms of dealing with the early stages of the journey that people go through online. I'm certainly not opposed to something like that. But as far as an outright ban of social media, I'm not so certain that this would be appropriate or productive, because I feel like sheltering the youth from a way to communicate with one another and a way to learn what's going on around the world is probably not the best idea either.
Hassan Piker, thank you very much indeed for talking to us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Dan Stockman misses him so much. It was clearly a joke. Like, this is the thing about Destiny, is he will take shit that's a joke and spread it around like it's serious.
It's hurt poor people that they can afford housing in Berkeley. I don't know how that works.
My understanding is that the property owners who have properties there choose just not to rent it at all.
Yeah, kill them. Kill those motherfuckers in a video game. Sorry. Holy shit. Murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods, dude. Oh my God, in a video game, of course. Holy shit.
If you disagree with this statement, which I do, I just want to make very clear. I don't want to soak the streets in red capitalist blood. That's terrible. But it's a joke. He's talking to a landlord. His name is Dan Stockman. They're not seriously saying we should get landlords, you know? Like, come on. You can tell he's joking in the clip. All right, chat. I wanted to show you a video from Bernie Sanders. God damn, he's so old. He's so fucking old. I got this video from a relative of mine. A relative of mine texted me this.
Oh, that's my son. Hey, what's going on? They're having a video shot here, and it's about Bernie Sanders coming to town, and they know that we're all Trump supporters.
What happens when you put Bernie Sanders in a room full of Trump voters?
I was shocked. I was like, oh.
Not as bad as they had told you, huh?
This is not how he's portrayed.
It's complicated. But then again, so is West Virginia.
So this, ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of people on Twitch who they cloak their like classism in the like pseudo radicalism of these are catering to white people. Like, oh, these are privileged white people. I can't believe you're talking to these people. They're irredeemable racists and whatnot. That may be true about Alabama, but it ain't true of West Virginia. And there are a lot of things that have gone wrong that these people are now in the throes of fascism. And any left-wing movement that can't, if not necessarily convert these people, understand why they have been lost is not worthy of the name. These people don't have fucking dentistry.
West Bygod, Virginia.
A state that voted blue for almost 80 years straight until it flipped hard to become the second reddest state in the country.
This is a state where Donald Trump got 70%.
Really? It's easy to assume that West Virginia will be red forever, but I'm not so sure. I live here, and I talk to a lot of Trump voters about floods that leveled their homes, power bills that climb every year, and you'd be surprised how many of them sound like Bernie Sanders.
The billionaires, they don't need a tax break.
They're trying to give all the billionaires and rich people breaks. That's the opposite of what you should be doing.
So when I heard that Bernie was rolling through, I wanted to know, can a Democratic socialist from Vermont, who's not even running for president, connect in the heart of Trump country?
All right, where should I sit? I'm in the middle here.
And what would it mean for the rest of the country if he did?
You started with Trump, and then now you're a whole volunteer.
A whole volunteer for Bernie Sanders. He's just ultra liberal. He's a socialist.
I'm sorry to get everybody in trouble here.
And me? I got to drive him around in my truck and find out.
Senator, welcome back to West Virginia. I know it's not your first time here.
No, it is not. I've been here several times, and I must tell you, I love the state, actually. It's a beautiful state, and I very much enjoy the people, very down-to-earth, working-class people. You know, we campaigned here very vigorously.
Yeah.
In 2016.
Yes.
And we had to take on Hillary Clinton and Joe Manchin and the whole Democratic Party establishment. We went to places where politicians don't usually go, including McDowell County, down in the southern part of the state.
Bernie Sanders, who joins me now.
We are the only major country on earth that doesn't guarantee health care to all people as a right. What do you think? Do you think we should join other countries and guarantee health care as a right of all?
Yeah, I think every American citizen should have health care.
We ended up winning West Virginia. We won every single county in the state.
In 2016, Bernie didn't just win West Virginia. He shocked everybody who thought they had this place figured out.
We won a big victory in West Virginia.
But that was just a Democratic primary in 2016. The real question is, how does Bernie's message land with Trump voters in 2025?
All right, I'm going to ask you a question, and then you come back to me. Sound good? All right, talk about health care here in Mingo County. What's the story? I see a hand right, woman right here. Please stand up.
Hi, my name is Sheila Rose, and I ended up back in Mingo County where I grew up after a chronic illness paralyzed me about 4 years ago. I've come a long way since then, but anytime I need to see a specialist, it's a 2-hour trip. Anytime I need a referral to a new specialist, it's a 6-month wait. There is no way to stay healthy in Mingo County.
Mingo County is in the southern coal fields of West Virginia. For generations, people
First world country, by the way.
here dug the coal that lit America's cities and kept the factories running. Now, the coal jobs are mostly gone, and what's left is poverty on a scale that rivals anywhere in the United States.
It's crying at the grocery store.
choosing between paying a bill or having food in the cabinet or the refrigerator. It affects your health, and then you don't have health care. Child care is ridiculously expensive, so it's very stressful.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mingo County, like the rest of the state, went big for Donald Trump. So we followed up with some of his voters over biscuits and coffee to find out what that's all about.
I would have been nervous with a lot of different, like, celebrities or politicians, but you just seem so normal. Like, you're like obviously just like a normal human.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for the damn breakfast here. I'm starving.
We already ate.
Bro, Bernie Sanders, man. I'm sorry, but like, that's exactly how I would be. I'd be like, where the fuck is the pancakes? What's taking so goddamn long? I ordered shit on a shingle, pancakes, and hash browns. Where the fuck is it? Hurry up. Give me that over easy egg.
I would love to take an inventory of just personal politics in the last couple of years. Can we start off with that?
You're gonna start with me.
Yeah, we'll start with you. Yeah.
What is shit on a shingle? Oh, this is white trash deliciousness. Oh, this is the good stuff. Creamed chipped beef on toast. Oh, this is the good shit. Lots of pepper. That's good. That's redneck food right there. British adjacent food? No shit, they're in the hills. They're in the fucking hills. This is where British culture is the most intense. However, they forgot they're British. They call themselves American. But this is where British culture in America is the strongest at this point, is in the hills. It's different than British because it has pepper on it and salt.
I am independent, but I lean conservative. Not as much anymore as I used to, but
Vio would love shit on a shingle. If I gave Vio that, it would be her new favorite food. Legitimately. If I gave her, it's cream chipped beef on toast. But who calls it that? If I gave Vio that, they would love it. It's like Vio's ideal food, honestly.
I did vote for Trump, but I did post on my Facebook page, instead of I voted, I put I vomited because I didn't want to, but I didn't, Yeah. It is what it is.
I voted Republican. I agree with some things of Trump, but most I do not right now.
Right.
I do not, no.
And John, what's that like for you?
Well, this is my first time voting because I was just turned 18 right before I was able to vote. So I voted for Trump, but I'm primarily a Democrat.
Senator, who'd you vote for?
It wasn't Trump. Let me throw out a question.
Yeah.
You are living...
Vio is trying to object that she wouldn't like it. You would love it.
That was disgusting.
It's so good. You would love it. I guarantee it. Who here has had it? Who here has had cream chipped beef on a biscuit? It doesn't have to be toast. Toast is the poor people version. Like the slightly more upscale version is on biscuits. It is good. See? It's dang good. That's what I'm hearing. And there we are. Honestly, like, I'm a scrapple enjoyer. I'm a pork roll enjoyer. I wouldn't make you guys eat that. Scrapple is the type of food. I put maple syrup on mine. I think scrapple honestly should be banned. I know it's terrible. I know it may be the worst food. It has to be the worst food on the planet. I love it. It's great. I put maple syrup on mine, but I think it should be banned. I know it's bad for, I know it's just cancer. It feels like a cancer causing food when you eat it. And it is terrible. It looks terrible. It looks dangerous. It looks like what it should be illegal to feed to prisoners in a prison. All right, we got to show you guys this. I wonder if I could get this in California. Scrapple, also known by the Pennsylvania Dutch name Panhaus, is a traditional mush of fried pork scraps and trimmings combined with cornmeal and wheat flour. They are considered an ethnic food of the Pennsylvania Dutch, including the Mennonites and Amish. This may be the worst food. Look at it uncooked. You are insulting German culture when you insult this. Scrapple is primarily eaten in southern mid-Atlantic areas, Delaware, Maryland, South Jersey, Pennsylvania, Virginia, North Carolina, and they eat it in North Carolina? I didn't know about that. Dutch, German, and Scandinavian foods are all inedible. Well, no shit. Have you seen the weather there? Have you seen the weather? They're terrible. It's terrible weather. It's extremely hard living. They had to figure out how to survive off of like the worst food that had to be preserved for months and months and months. We eat liver mush in North Carolina, not scrapple. They're kind of liver mush is worse than this. That's like even worse. I wonder what they're gonna eat. I wonder if they're gonna eat because I see ketchup on the table. I've made scrapple. It's a family tradition. Honestly, that's so cool. I'm kind of sad that Pennsylvania German has been exterminated pretty much. It's kind of sad. It's sad to see like a certain culture dying out, even if it's completely terrible. I mean, even the Amish are dying out, man. That is sad. Why is that sad? Anytime a cultural way goes out of, is disappeared, it's kind of sad. My mom is obsessed with scrapple, is very Philly pride about it. That makes sense. It is very much is like, again, Eastern Pennsylvania shit. They're undying up here in Ohio. What are you talking about? I bet you they're shrinking if I looked it up. How are they dying out? By dying out. Yeah. Theo wants to know my thoughts on black pudding. It's okay. It's all right. It's not really something that I'm like, yay, black pudding. But it's pretty good. It's all right. This is what we're talking about, chat. It's just blood food.
Shock of all shocks in the wealthiest country in the history of the world. Do you feel that down here?
No. People are not surviving. We just had our food bank yesterday. We usually pack for 80 people. We served 102 yesterday. It is getting worse. Nobody's surviving right now.
My husband works at the hospital, and there are several ODs every single day.
Only a town of 6,000.
Yeah, we're not a big town.
Several ODs every day?
Oh, yeah.
Let me ask you this, and you may not know the answer. Nobody does, because, again, this is not just the West Virginia issue. We got it terrible in Vermont. So why are people doing drugs?
In my thing that I see, because I work a lot in addiction, it's mental health issues.
It's what?
Mental health issues. Lack of jobs. Lack of jobs, poverty, lack of support for our veterans.
You finding many veterans doing drugs?
Oh, yes. And homeless. And that irritates me. They stood up, they fought for our country, and we can't even afford to give them housing.
I always wondered, how did so many drugs get into this state? Do we have thoughts about that?
The doctor's pushing it.
Talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, my mother was an addict, and that's how she got addicted. She had a back injury. The doctor kept prescribing medicine. Eventually, that medicine didn't work, and she had to start doing the harder stuff. Sadly, she passed away from a drug overdose. So, I mean, I understand the addiction part of it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to fight. And addiction just doesn't affect the person that's doing it. It affects the whole family, the whole area.
Grow up around this kind of poverty long enough, and you start to lose faith in the political system that allowed it to happen. While Trump may put up huge numbers at the ballot box, nearly half of West Virginians don't even show up to vote at all. One of the highest non-voting rates in the country.
And I think the message is not complicated. People throughout the country, especially in rural areas, feel neglected. They are hurting financially. The Democratic Party, by and large, has kind of ignored those people, turned its back on them.
Not always, though, right?
Not always. Oh, no.
Especially here. I mean, it was 80 years of Democrats before it flipped.
You got it. This is one of the strongest Democratic states in the country. You're a strong union state, working class state. But I think what happened in West Virginia is a perfect example of the decline of the Democratic Party nationally.
To understand what happened to the Democratic Party in West Virginia, you need to understand the history.
The man has dedicated his life to speaking for poor people and people like this, and things have gotten worse. Yeah, we lost. What, do you think we won? Do you think we had a moment where we were like, all right, the socialists are astride power in America, and we are making our policies? Do you think that ever happened? Do you think that's happened for 100 fucking years? Newsflash, it hasn't. We just took the L. People were like, well, I don't know. I think Hillary Clinton might be more electable, and I don't want the Republicans to win, so I'm going to vote for Hillary Clinton. Oh, shucks, she wasn't more electable after all. Well, Joe Biden is more electable. I think we got to pick for Joe Biden. Yeah, he's kind of a racist, and he's never done anything in his entire career as being a politician from 29 years old, his entire life. And he has no accomplishments whatsoever that are positive. But I think he's more electable. Oh, he lost. Oh, his brain doesn't work. Oh, The reason why we are in the position we're in is because centrist Democrats succeeded in getting their way. Centrist Democrats succeeded in getting their way. They won the primaries. They've been in control of the party since, I would say, 76. I'd say since 1976, the centrist wing of the party has won every single time. Some people would argue Truman, and I would say that's true, but at least 76. I feel like LBJ did a lot of shit with the left, but then he also stabbed us in the back with Vietnam. So, and try to prove how I am the biggest anti-communist. I am the biggest anti-communist. I am a tough guy in foreign policy. And not reigning in the FBI. The FBI. Do you guys know that there's never been a non-Republican in charge of the FBI since its founding? That every single FBI director since the FBI was created has been a Republican every single time. Our political police have only been members of the Republican Party since the founding of the FBI. Every single one. Don't you think that's a little weird that you never have a Democrat even? Even a centrist Democrat?
History of coal.
I'm a mine worker, generational mine worker. We built these towns, all of us.
There was a time when coal companies controlled almost everything, and speaking out against the boss could get you beaten, evicted, or worse.
Killed.
But in 1921, all of that boiled over at the Battle of Blair Mountain, the largest labor uprising in U.S. history.
Way back when, in the 1920s, it wasn't quite so civil. But we got to respect those people, our ancestors.
The mine wars, our own history here, is kept out of the textbooks, really. It's not in the popular imagination. I mean, that's been scrubbed because I think it's dangerous. You know, it's a threat. It's a threat to power.
Yeah. Those early fights built the United Mine Workers of America and inspired a national labor movement that won the 8-hour day, paid vacations, and the weekend. And for decades, it was the Democratic Party who defended the unions. So working-class West Virginians kept that fire going at the ballot box. But coal burns fast, and eventually the flame died out. Within a few decades, we went from over 100,000 coal miners to around 10,000 today, and only a fraction of those still unionized. As the unions shrank, so did the backbone of the Democratic Party. So the Democrats shifted their strategy. They left the coal towns and the haulers to chase corporate money and suburban votes someplace else.
For every blue-collar Democrat we will lose in Western PA, we will pick up 2, 3 moderate Republicans in the suburbs of Philadelphia. And you can repeat that in Ohio and Illinois and Wisconsin.
The whole valley here was Democrat for years and years, and here the last 5 or 6 years, it has evolved into red.
West Virginia's turn from deep blue to solid red happened fast, all while hospitals struggled to stay open, classrooms emptied out, and opioids were pumped into these hills. Then came Trump, who promised to turn back.
I mean, West Virginia and Pennsylvania are very similar. That's why I don't know if you guys saw the latest updates, but this just came out this last night. Republicans are making voter registration gains ahead of the midterms. Pennsylvania is particularly striking. The Democratic registration margin swelled to more than 1.2 million following Barack Obama's election in 2008 and remained over 1 million through 2014. Since then, it has declined every year except during Trump's first term, when Democrats saw their advantage increase between 2017 and 2018, aka when we were the wokest, when the Democratic Party was the wokest. That's the only time it grew in Pennsylvania. But so far, at least, there's been no Democratic resurgence during Trump's second term, and Republicans are now closer to Democrats in total registrations in the battleground state than any point this century. Overall, the GOP's registration momentum marks a continuation of a longer-term trend that seems to be bringing the two parties closer to parity. Except then it's not going to stop at parity. It's going to go like Ohio, where it used to be blue, then it became balanced for an election or two, and now it's deep red. And once Pennsylvania flips, Democrats cannot win. It's actually GG. A more exact alignment of how people are classified on the voter rolls with how they are already voting. Part of this story is also a marked rise in the number of people registering as independents and not registering with either party. But as the 2026 landscape takes shape, a question is whether this also reflects newer damage to the Democratic Party brand. Since last year's election, polling has continued to find Democrats with a worse image than Republicans because they deserve it. Because they deserve it. Because they are scum. Let's not be confused. This is a different from Trump's first term when the GOP had more of an image problem. Another factor that contributed to the Democrats' 2018 windfall.
Coal is coming back. Clean coal is coming back. 100%.
Donald Trump says he's going to bring back jobs to Appalachia, to the coal mining areas.
Yeah, they may do it. You can see President Trump's bringing in all kind of industry. There's going to be jobs up the kazoo.
Look.
We lost 80,000 manufacturing jobs last quarter. 80,000 manufacturing jobs. You know who else lost a lot of jobs? The Germans lost like 100 and some thousand manufacturing jobs just last week. The West has been defeated. They can't compete with China on anything. It's fucking Jover. How many manufacturing jobs has China gained? China gained 100 million manufacturing jobs. The US lost 9 million and China gained 100 million. Now, that's what they are now. They're at 120 million. I'm talking about the history of trade with China. The US lost 9 million manufacturing jobs and China gained 100 million. Not just like recently. That would be insane. I love white people who live in China posting TikToks of just walking around. It causes so many people to get triggered.
And today I'm going to visit the Shenzhen library and find a quiet spot to do some editing. The building on its own is quite impressive. Very nice design. Check it out. I got a reader's card for free, good for 10 years, and I can use all the services of the library. This is the coolest idea ever. There's a silent piano. You can play it with your headphones on without disturbing anybody else. Let's find a desk. Everything is taken on the desk. This library, from the morning till now where I'm living, all 5 floors of it are completely full. It's just packed. People of all ages, reading, learning, studying, working, acquiring knowledge. And all of that is on a Sunday. If you have a society where people put so much time into learning and improving, there's no surprise while they're getting ahead.
Yeah. The Los Angeles Public Library was built in 1928, and it looks like it. Oh, sorry, 1926. And it's nice. It has some cool shit in it. I'm not saying I hate it or anything. It's just they spent $10 million in 1926 money. Oh, no, sorry. I'm sorry. My mistake. This is the rehabilitation. They spent, how much did they spend? We don't know. I'd have to find out. It's nice. It's mostly like a homeless services place. I like it. I'm a big library fan.
Yeah. Why is Trump president? It's not complicated in my view.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party was about protecting the status quo and tinkering around the edges.
Yeah.
You know, we promise you we're not going to do anything bold. We're very bipartisan. We're going to work with the business community. We love billionaires. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? And Trump comes along and says the system is broken.
Nobody knows the system better than me, which is why I alone can fix it.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's right. The system is broken. Now, his solutions only make it worse.
Trump, for all his promises, has not brought the coal industry back.
No shit.
But with the big beautiful bill, his signature piece of legislation, he made his mark on West Virginia. It's estimated that more than 50,000 West Virginians will be cut from Medicaid. At least 7 hospitals in the state are at risk of shutting down, and as many as 84,000 people will lose access to food assistance because of this bill.
So in this bill, Trump's big, beautiful bill, why do you think they cut Medicaid? To save government money so that, what?
They can give tax to their donors.
Exactly. It's not only $1 trillion in tax breaks to the top 1%, it's a huge tax break to large corporations as well.
So why do they need to have a tax break?
All right.
I
now
could use
you're
a tax
asking
break.
me,
I mean, I'm being real. I know I pay like 26% taxes. Like, I could use that money.
Look, these people on top are not nice people. They want more and more. They don't have $1 million. That's chump change.
Yeah.
And we're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars in some case.
When you live here, it feels like a poor country.
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
It is.
I mean, when you say we're the wealthiest, like you said that several times yesterday, and I was like, is it true though? Because like,
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
In aggregate, that's what, look, if we're sitting here and I'm worth $1 billion and all of you are broke, you add it all together, you divide it, we're very wealthy, right? We're all worth $100 million. But I got $1 billion and you got nothing. That's America. And if I say that I think the United States should do what every other major country on earth does, guarantee health care to all people as a human right, are you going to think I'm a communist and a terrible person?
I think if people listen, if you talk the way that you did, and you're so reasonable, like they've painted you in a bad light, and it actually makes me very angry because, you know, you see things and you believe it. I'll just be honest, I haven't really seen you talk before. I haven't really I don't follow politics that much. And so the last couple days before this, I started watching some of your speeches and I started watching your interviews, and I was shocked. I was like, oh.
Not as bad as they had told you, huh?
This is not how he's portrayed in the media, right?
We're told that the biggest divide in America is between left and right. But Bernie came here to flip that story on its head.
I think that whether you're in rural West Virginia or in Burlington, Vermont, you got the same exact issues. And I think we don't let people divide us up. We got to come together to fight for all of us.
This is what all that billions of dollars of advertising money is for. It's why they buy TikTok. It's why they buy Twitter. It's why they buy Fox News. It's why they buy the newspapers and the television stations and the radio stations. That's why they want to shut me up. That's why they're, going to yell at Twitch's CEO because Mike from PA has a good stream. That's it. I can't believe people are watching that stream and they saying stuff I don't like on it. What are you doing to make sure nobody sees this guy? The problem we have is I don't feel like there's enough of a pendulum swinging back. We have a ratchet effect. There's nobody like me that's in positions of power. Like, let's just be honest. Like, if I was in power, I would break up all these mega media corporations. I wouldn't allow the monopolization. I wouldn't allow this shit. I would use the Sherman Act, the Sherman Antitrust Act. I would do shit disempower the right wing, but there is nobody on the left who wants to do that. It's all tinkering around the edges bullshit. Maybe they have an idea of a good program, but they don't know how to do political power. The right knows how to exercise political power. That's why they're winning. They go after unions. They go after left-wing media. They go after the universities. They go after these things, and they try to change the culture through direct intervention. Who's doing that? There's no real orgs for leftists, and all the leftist media heads use zero other voices to either make a group or get behind a group. I mean, I do. I support the groups that I can.
Over 100 years ago, they called us rednecks because striking workers from all different races wore red bandanas around their necks as they fought and died for respect and a living wage. That history was mostly erased from our textbooks, but it never went away. It's still here, scattered all across the state, if you know where to look.
My grandfather fought at Blair Mountain.
Your grandfather fought at Blair Mountain?
Yes.
What do you think this country at this moment needs to learn from your grandfather who fought at Blair Mountain?
Well, you just can't stand and let them step on you. You got to get up and fight.
So that is what our struggle is about, is to take on the greed of these people and say, you know what? You cannot and will not have it all.
Bernie Sanders is 84 years old. He's not running for president. But maybe what he's after is way bigger than one election.
How do we get the corporate wing of the Democratic Party, who is just as guilty of taking money from billionaire causes, to embrace a progressive working class agenda, because it's about time?
What's your name?
Max.
You're going to lead it, Max. Look, this state was once one of the strongest Democratic states in the country. And I think people gave up on the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party gave up on them. So take it back. Don't ask, take it.
You have been to how many Bernie rallies now?
3.
3.
3.
And over what period of time did that take place?
2 days. The first night was just like real eye-opening for me. It was like a whole mind shift of my whole belief system of how we could come together as a people.
Yeah.
We all want our kids to have a safe place to live. We all want our kids to have food. We all want our kids to have health care. Like there's no difference. We all need to fight together.
Yeah.
Because if we're fighting each other, we're not going to ever get anywhere.
Yeah.
So.
Did you expect to walk out of here with a shirt?
I did not expect to walk out of here with a shirt.
Hi, thanks for watching our video. If you like this story and you want more stories like this, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel to get more Perfect Union in your feed. And if you have stories that you want us to investigate, drop them in the comments below.
Thank you, everybody. I just realized we are 3 hours and 45 minutes into the stream, and I forgot to shill. If you enjoy this type of content, if you believe in supporting it, please consider supporting it by subscribing. It is September, chat. So, you know, we have discounts on the subscriptions. If you have a tier 1 already, or somebody gifted you a sub, the single best thing you could do to support the stream is to subscribe for a multi-month subscription. You save a lot of money. I think a 6-month subscription is like 20-something bucks right now, which is a huge discount. Fucking 30-something% discount. Please consider supporting the stream by gifting subs. There's a lot of people here working paycheck to paycheck, parents of young children, college students, people on a fixed income because of retirement or disability, or just regular people struggling to make ends meet. If you enjoy this content, please consider supporting it. You know, one of the things that is core to my worldview is a belief in understanding and the power of organization. And I think one of the biggest problems we have, Open Presidents, thank you for the 25. Hammond Fist, thank you for the 50. I think what's difficult about being a leftist, what's difficult about this period of our country is that we know how to solve the problems. None of the problems that we are facing as a society are difficult. They aren't. Housing people is not difficult. Transportation is not difficult. Even transitioning to a green energy economy is not difficult. Educating children is not difficult. Providing health care is not difficult. And what I mean by that is not that the actual doing it isn't hard work. Of course it is. It's we are making political decisions to not care for each other. We are making political decisions to do an empire. We are doing political decisions to attack the Venezuelans, to attack Chinese people, to attack Gazans. None of that is necessary. And one of the things that is so frustrating is that this is the wealthiest nation on the planet, and we pay more and we get less because there's so many goddamn corporate grifters. Every single health insurance company is another bureaucracy standing between you and healthcare. Imagine somebody came out to you and they said, my solution for healthcare is to create 10 duplicate bureaucracies for health insurance. We're going to make 10 more Medicares. They're not going to do anything different. They're all going to do the same thing, but we're going to have 10 separate Medicares. That's private health insurance. It's bureaucracies competing with bureaucracy. I'm sorry, chat, but that's fucking stupid. All that health insurance is supposed to be a health care financing program, which is you take money from healthy people and you use it to pay for sick people. That's what health insurance is. But instead of doing that with the government, where we put everybody's money into a big pile and we care for all the sick people in the country with no exceptions, give them the best possible care that medical science demands, what is medically necessary, which we could easily do as a rich country, we decide to have 50 different bureaucracies. And that's why we spend more money and get worse outcomes. We don't take advantage of economies of scale. We let companies cherry pick healthy people and put sick people on public programs. It is a complete waste. That's what we do with this country. The military. You're telling me we need $1 trillion military to fight who? There's no threat. There's no threat to this country. China can't even dominate the South China Sea. What are you talking about? There's no threat. The Europeans are our simpering peasant allies. Who the fuck are we fighting? There's no one to fight. Our military could be a quarter of the size it is right now. A quarter. And every American would be completely assured of safety from foreign domination. It is nonsensical waste. That's $7.5 trillion over 10 years. You know how much free college for all costs? $70 billion more. That's all it would take to eliminate tuition for every public university would only be $70 billion a year. That's 10% of what we could cut from the military. We spend so much money on police because we have so many people in poverty, and poverty begets crime. Despair begets crime. When you don't have a place in society, when you don't have a future, when you don't have any ambition, that's what creates crime. Desperation, poverty, disrespect, humiliation, no hope. That's why we have so much crime and violence in this fucking country. United States of America is completely safe from military domination. The NATO is spending $1.5 trillion a year compared to China's $235 billion. We have to spend 7 times as much, 8 times as much money. What's going to happen? Saudi Arabia, our ally. Ukraine, our ally. Israel, our ally. Australia, our ally. Japan, our ally. South Korea, our ally. What the fuck are we doing here? People pretend like America's a poor country because they don't want to believe they've been had. You've been fucking had. How do I argue with rich people who say they would rather pay for private health care so they could get the help they need promptly instead of having more of a wait like they have in Canada or the UK? I've had this argument with someone and I don't know how to respond. They spend 1/3 as much money in the UK on healthcare than we do per person. And rich people could always pay for jumping the line. What are you talking about? Who gives a fuck? Rich people in America don't even live that long. They don't live longer than people in Japan. They don't live longer than people in Switzerland. They don't live longer. So you're paying a lot of extra money to what? Die the same age? Why do they die so much? Because the air in America is polluted. I don't care if you are a billionaire or a poor person on the street. You're breathing our polluted fucking air. It gives you lung cancer and heart disease. Deregulation kills the rich and poor alike. Our food is unsafe. You get cancer. Good luck with your fucking chemotherapy, billionaire. You still got cancer from our poisoned water and air and food. I told him it would be cheaper, but he kept arguing that we don't have enough doctors. You build more medical schools. You take the billions of dollars you would have spent on fucking health insurance, executive CEO pensions and bonuses, and you give it to medical schools so we hire more fucking doctors. We train more doctors. You know thousands of American medical students leave America because there's not enough med school slots, and they go to like Bermuda so they could get a medical degree and then come back to practice in America because we don't have enough medical schools. The Fed only cut rates by 1/4 point. They cut rates 1/4 point and the stock market rose. I think we could probably say that we're coming to the top. I think we could start to say that, I mean, we got a 52-week high. It definitely feels like, okay, they got their rate cuts. They've been waiting for rate cuts. They got their rate cuts. That means the economy is slowing down. Saving rates are going to shit. Look what happens when there are rate cuts, chat. You see the gray thing? That means recession. The stock market's like, yay, the economy's slowing down. See, when they start cutting rates, do you see that gray bar? Those gray boxes are recessions. This is how you know the economy is at a peak, because they start cutting rates right before it crashes. Happens pretty much every time. My parents got their mortgage around, I want to say around, I think my parents got a mortgage like right around here. They remortgaged their house somewhere around, somewhere at the in the end, it's like 2021, 2020, somewhere around there. I think they had bought their house somewhere around here. Somewhere around here. It was like they remortgaged their house. I wonder how the country is going to react to a recession, a real recession. We haven't had a real recession for a while. We had the COVID one, but we pumped so much stimulus into the economy. First time in my life that ever happened. So honestly, regular people were better off during COVID. The AI bubble, man. How is all the AI companies doing? NVIDIA CEO says he's disappointed after a report China has banned its AI chips. Remember, like last year, they were like, we are not going to allow China to buy NVIDIA chips. And then China's like, bet, you're banned from buying them.
Speaker Johnson, the American agenda has had a way of having some backlash on some American companies, and we're kind of seeing that play out with NVIDIA this morning. We just gave a comment from NVIDIA's CEO where there's an article out today in the Financial Times that says Chinese authorities have told Chinese companies that they are no longer to use any chips or buy any chips from NVIDIA. They're to cancel the orders that they have, probably because of the trade talks that are taking place right now and these issues of national security that are playing out between the two countries. Jensen Huang just saying that, we can only be in service of a market if a country wants us to be, pointing out that he's disappointed, but that there are larger items to work out on the agenda between the Chinese and the United States. What do you say to American companies that do business in China, do business internationally, and end up getting hurt on the bottom line as a result of what we're doing right now?
Well, it's not provocations from the United States that have started that. I mean, if China wants to, begin a trade war or, make these relations more complicated.
Mike, are you invested in the market? I am, honestly, if I be completely honest, I have zero faith in the markets right now. It's not advice. I'm just saying personally, I don't have any faith in these markets. I think they're completely bubble territory. I've never felt like a market was more bubbled than right now. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, maybe I'm missing out on like a big growth, but I just don't have any faith in the United States of America and the markets. They just don't, they're not connected to anything. Credit card debt is up. Mortgage delinquencies is up. Rent late payments are up. AI implementation is declining. Home buyer demand is at an all-time low, because prices haven't come down. Like home prices are at the most unaffordable. I've been talking about this for a year. It's like housing price versus, like how many times have I showed you guys this chart? I've been talking about this shit for a year. Look at housing prices. No, stop trying to make me look at shit. Housing bubble. It's at it's higher than the housing bubble. Home price to median income ratio over 7. It never got that high ever before in American history. Houses have never been more expensive than they right now in American history, like since World War II. They've never been this expensive, like ever. You understand that? I would love this same chart in Canada. Holy fuck, that would probably be like 15 or something insane. Homebuyer demand in America is absolutely anemic right now. To start 2025, existing sales are averaging 4.5 million. Do you think there's not demand for housing? There's hundreds of thousands of homeless people on the fucking streets. It's not demand, it's inability to pay. Inability to borrow and pay these prices. This is housing recession level numbers. This is the Great Recession level numbers. How is the economy going up? What are we talking about here?
It's their prerogative to do so, but we have to face China very seriously, and we do. The administration and the Congress understand that China has been working.
Hold on, chat. Let me fix
to
my
become
audio.
a peer-to-peer adversary with the United States, and we're in a race with them, frankly, in so many areas, in AI and the advancement of new technology. And China is not a fair trading partner. I mean, they're a communist regime. They steal our intellectual property. They have no regard whatsoever for U.S. trademark law. A long time now to become a peer-to-peer adversary with the United States, and we're in a race with them, frankly, in so many areas, in AI and the advancement of new technology. And China is not a fair trading partner. I mean, they're a communist regime. They steal our intellectual property. They have no regard whatsoever for U.S. trademark law or any of the other provisions that make for fair trade agreements. So it is not the fault of the United States that there are these strained relations. It is the fault of China. And look, there are lots of complicated negotiations going on. We're concerned about their activities in the Indo-Pacific. We're concerned about the free countries in that part of the world and around the world. And our allies around the world share that same concern. So we're in a race with them. It's a very, I think, counterproductive development for what they've announced about NVIDIA, and we've got to work through that.
Can we touch on TikTok? I realize no one knows all of the details on this yet. I don't know if you've been briefed, but obviously Congress passed the bill that was then signed into a law by President Biden saying that TikTok either had to be divested or will be shut down in the United States. Do you know what will work in terms of how the logistics work? Will we know what's in the algorithm, even if we're licensing it from them? Will American engineers be able to see the algorithm and see what's getting fed to U.S. users?
I don't know those details, but I can tell you that there is great concern in Congress. That's why we voted for the divestment requirement, because it's a dangerous platform. It has been misused and abused. It has been used, frankly, against American youth in particular, flooding their feeds with this really dangerous material. I mean, they were promoting suicide to young teen girls at one point. I mean, it's a dangerous thing. And I think leaders in Congress have expressed our desire and our insistence that be ceased. And so I hope that the terms of this new arrangement accomplish that desired goal. But as you said, I haven't seen the details of it yet, so we're waiting to see.
So they were like, nah, you can't have our AI chips. And now they're like, oh, I can't believe you're not buying our AI chips. Here's the reality about AI, chat. If AI is real, China's going to win. China can build electrical power generation that's green and renewable and cheap. China can build infrastructure, so they're going to have better ability to build data centers in the U.S. There is no world where AI is a real thing and China loses to the U.S. It's not possible. They have way more engineers. They have way more infrastructure capacity. It's just over. And they have more people. It doesn't matter. So either AI is a total boondoggle and it's a bubble and it doesn't matter, or China wins. Those are the only fucking futures. And China has caught up to the US on every single thing they've put their mind to. They've caught up to the US. The last few things that were left was a domestically designed, engineered, and manufactured jet engines, which they have now done. They have caught up completely on that, and a commercial airliner, which they have done and completely caught up. So the Chinese have completely caught up on advanced aviation and space shit. They're right where we are. They're going to surpass us because they have a planned moon base. They're not just going to the moon to drop a flag like we did in the 60s. They're going to build a moon base to harvest helium-3 for their other plans, which is they're investing billions in fusion energy. The International Space Station is collapsing into the fucking Pacific. They have the Heavenly Palace, which they're expanding. It's fucking Jover. It's Jover. It's Jover. It's Jover. We can't even build one high-speed rail from San Francisco to Los Angeles against the flat central fucking valley. They've built 40,000 miles of high-speed rail through some of the most difficult terrain on the planet. It's never been more Jover. Never been more Jover. This is how racism. This is the funniest thing about racism. Is white people, they took the Russians seriously because the Russians are white. They look white. So they took the Russians seriously. And they were like, oh, fuck, those communists. We got to do everything we can to contain them. But because they're fucking racists, they underestimated the Chinese. Once the Russians were gone, they were like, well, we could exploit these Chinese people just like we do with all sorts of minorities around the planet. And the Chinese were like, listen, you could come in here and you can have our workers and you can build your factories, but you need to teach us about engineering, and you need to teach us about you need to share intellectual property, and you need to have Chinese owners and partners with all your projects. And they were just seeing dollar signs because they were like, we'll get rid of all our unionized labor in America, and we'll be able to take advantage of all these low-cost Chinese employees. 30 years later, oops, we accidentally build a super productive communist country. Uh-oh, spaghetti-o. And we don't even have blue jeans to hold over their, and Walkmans to hold over their heads anymore. They make the fucking iPhones in China. They make the blue jeans in China. It's fucking Jover. Not only are the Chinese better at heavy industry, they're better at light industry. They have the shipbuilding capacity. They have the missile building capacity. It's fucking Jover. We can't even build cloth masks for a fucking pandemic. We're telling our people not to take vaccines. In China, everybody's vaccinated. The Chinese don't sit there wringing their hands going like, oh no, it's personal bottle autonomy. Oh no, they're like, this vaccine works. Here you go. And that's it. Everybody's vaccinated against fucking everything. Nobody even notices because they don't sit there wringing their hands going, oh, I don't know. Should we let the idiot tell his children to die of measles? No, they're like, bam, damn. They don't even, it's not even a thing. They don't even think about it. And after all of that, they are 3.5 times the US population. And they have a political class that's rewarded when China succeeds, making money on the stock market. The Chinese were like, man, cryptocurrency seems like a scam and it's fucking wasteful and stupid. That shit's banned. Fuck that dumb shit. NFTs, those seem stupid. Those are banned. Get that shit out of here. Bro, we're cooked. Sales of heavy trucks are falling like the U.S. is headed for a recession. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Their chips are the new gold or oil. We are beyond cooked. What does a recession mean for the average American? It means tight credit, so you can't borrow money. It means that home prices will probably decline. It means that a significant percentage of you will lose your jobs or not get any raises. It means that businesses will scale back all sorts of discretionary spending, like things like advertising. So if you're in marketing, you're in trouble. It means that, you know, life sucks more.
All right, let's talk more about it. Joining us is Claudia Sahm, New Century Advisors chief economist and a former Fed economist. I mean, Claudia, that will be interesting, right? We'll see who dissents. We'll see how divergent the dot plots are. What are you looking for?
Yeah, and I want to underscore that even in normal times, like, we would expect there to be a lot of differences of opinion. This is a very tough setup for the Fed. We still have inflation elevated. It has been above 2% for more than 4 years now. And we've had some really disconcerting numbers on jobs and what's happening in the labor market. So it's dual mandates in conflict, and that is going to bring out a lot of different opinions about what is the appropriate next step. So I think that piece of it just comes with we're in an economy that's really tough to read right now, and whichever way they move the Fed funds rate, it's going to work against one of their two goals, right? So they're picking kind of the, you know, trying to fight the greater of two evils here. So it makes it tricky, and we should expect to see these differences of opinion. Now, we overlay on top of that things are not normal at the Fed right now. Right, there is a political piece to the, you know, what's being pointed at the Fed that I think creates more, as you said, palace intrigue than in a typical Fed meeting where you've got the dual mandate and conflict.
Do the dissents matter? Does it matter that they're on different pages? I mean, should the market take anything from that?
I think the big question for the market today is what's the guidance? We feel fairly confident that they're going to reduce the federal funds rate by 25 basis points. In the grand scheme of things, that is not a big move in interest rates. The big move, and what has been priced in, is that this is the beginning of a pretty aggressive cutting cycle, not just this year, but on into next year. And that's the piece where, listening particularly to Chair Powell as he channels where the committee is on this, like, is that what the Fed is set up for? I don't think that's what, given the risk, particularly with inflation, that the Fed is ready to kind of commit or even kind of softly commit to that path. But I don't know. I mean, it's a really tough one on merits to call, and I think we're gonna learn a lot. And the dissents may tell us something, but it's like, listen to Powell. He is the one who is going to communicate.
100%. What about your thoughts? So you're the inventor of the SOM rule, which has gotten a lot of attention, and it's based on this idea of calling recession, given what's happening with the unemployment rate, which is starting to move up a little bit. What is it telling you now?
Right. So the SOM rule, in terms of the change in the unemployment rate, we are nowhere near its historical trigger. Now, I think because we have such a reduction in immigration, we have the labor force aging, so we have this labor supply issue. So that makes the unemployment rate maybe be late to the game. So I'm not, resting easy that we're far from triggering the SOM rule. And yet I do think some of these the jobs numbers, the growth that is really slow to a crawl.
How the fuck are you justifying a Caterpillar boost? This is bubble shit. This is bubble shit. What the fuck are you talking about? How is Caterpillar getting a boost? We're cutting back on infrastructure spending for tax cuts. What the fuck are you talking about? This is batshit. Walmart's going up? What? Credit card debt is going insane. What are you talking about?
I'm not as convinced that all of we've got a recessionary setup. I think the risks are there. It is absolutely appropriate for the Fed to move and insure against some of those risks. But I also see some real risks in terms of inflation getting stuck. And we know from yet more household surveys, like the Michigan survey on Friday, people are still really feeling this. Like the inflation, even if it's not just, that much higher, it adds up over time. So I think they really do have to balance these two risks. And that means we could kind of have a stop and go in terms of adjusting policy as opposed.
I heard that the majority of discretionary spending is now being done by the top 10%. Meaning the majority of money spent on shit in our economy is done by the people in the top 10%. Our economy is fucking cooked. The rent seekers have sucked all the blood out of the economy. We are fucking cooked. Completely cooked.
To just running the table in terms of getting back to a neutral rate quickly.
Yeah, well, market might be disappointed if it's stop and go now that it's starting to really price in some cuts. Claudia, thank you for joining us on an important day. Claudia Sahm.
High-income Americans are behind roughly half of all U.S. consumer spending, up from about a third in the early 90s. The only time that decline happened was it was during the pandemic, chat. You could see the pandemic caused poorer people to spend more as a percentage of the economy. We are fucked. How's the stock market? Oh, the NASDAQ and the S&P are down, but the Dow Jones is up. What is going on with the Dow Jones? Why do we have mixed market? 4,000 an ounce? It's trading at 3,700 an ounce? Holy part of being a socialist is understanding capitalism, chat. Understanding the way that capitalists talk and think about the economy. If your streamers are not watching CNBC, not talking about the business press, they're not serious. They're not talking about the real shit. Bernie called Gaza a genocide? Wait, really? Finally? For the first time, Senator Bernie Sanders just referred to the war in Gaza as a genocide. The intent is clear. The conclusion is inescapable. Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. I recognize that many people may disagree with this conclusion. The truth is, whatever you call it, genocide or ethnic cleansing or mass atrocities or war crimes, the path forward is clear. We as Americans must end our complicity in the slaughter of the Palestinian people. That is why I have worked with a number of my Senate colleagues to force votes on 7 joint resolutions of disapproval to stop offensive arms sales to offensive. The United States must not continue sending many billions of dollars and weapons to Netanyahu's genocidal government. Having named it a genocide, we must use every ounce of our leverage to demand an immediate ceasefire, a massive surge of humanitarian aid facilitated by the UN, and initial steps to provide Palestinians with a state of their own. Yes, the war in Gaza is a genocide. This is my reaction. This is my honest to God reaction. Fuck his reputation. I'm sorry, chat, but like he's not stupid. He knows more than me. He's seen more declassified briefings. He's seen more violence. I've seen what I can from reporting. What, like, I'm sorry, offensive weapons? You mean all weapons, all aid, all things. I want to be able to support Bernie or AOC or whatever the fuck, but I'm not going to do it when they are cowardly and shitty on this issue. Israel is an enemy of the United States, not an ally. Israel is a fucking millstone around the neck of the world that is causing war and destabilization and genocide, and it forces the United States to interfere in the governments and policies of all of the Arab world to protect our stupid colony. It's no more mincing words. Israel must be contained like the rogue genocidal state that it is. Mike, pull up this guy. He's nuts. It is the end of the stream and I'm tired. Okay, what's this guy's bitch ass shit? Okay, following 3 hours ago, he's got a lot of opinions. Okay. If our military was a joke, then so many countries would not be relying on us for weapons and defense. Our enemies would be advancing. Russia is contained. China is only aggressive economically. They aren't attacking Taiwan or invading countries militarily. If that changes, I might not agree with you. First of all, the United States China has not had an aggressive war, has not fought a war in decades and decades and decades. And it's not because of fear of the United States. It's because they wisely invested in their own domestic development. When I see them fail to ram a civilian ship, what else am I supposed to think? Civilian ship. The United States does 1,000,000 quadrillion times worse every single day in other countries' waters. Please stop. You don't give a fuck about the sea lanes around the Philippine Sea. What are you talking about? Shut the fuck up. Stop repeating propaganda you saw on the fucking internet. God damn, you're dumb. Taiwan is also part of China. None of our business what happens to Taiwan. It's part of China. I'm trying to cause a war with the United States of America and China over an island that's part of China and always has been. That's not my opinion. That's the U.S. State Department's opinion. The country you worship. Get with the program. There's only one China. I'm proud of our military prowess. Lost in Vietnam, lost in Korea, lost in Iraq. Can't beat Hamas after 2 years and hundreds of billions of dollars. I don't know about that, man. Military prowess, my ass. Don't talk to me about killing children when Iran is okay with launching masses of missiles. They were retaliating for being attacked. They were retaliating for being attacked. If Israel hadn't attacked, they wouldn't have launched the missiles. You act like there isn't evil in this world. There is. It's called Israel in the United States. Ukraine is a David versus Goliath fight. They're not losing. I mean, when you lose 20% of your territory, you know, I'm sorry, but Ukraine has been utterly devastated. I'm not saying that what Russia did was okay, but you're coping. You're coping. The war between Ukraine and Russia has been a disaster for Ukraine and Russia. That's why diplomacy was better than provocation. Incredible. The guy actually thinks the U.S. is good. All right, chat, I'm done. I'm done with it today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Hope you appreciate it. Thanks for all the support. You guys are the best. I'm sending you over to VO. VO is live. Everybody, DSA feeder, shit on a shingle when? DSA feeder. I suck. Thanks, man. Good argument, man. Shit on a shingle when? All right, everybody. Here's all my links. Follow me on everything. I hope the war in Ukraine ends soon. I will see you all soon. Stay safe out there. Solidarity forever. Free Palestine from the river to the sea.